Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Spivey, and you're officially watching my first ever time jamming a live stream game. I expect there to be rough patches, awkward moments, but hopefully some good gaming in there also. A few words before we introduce the players and get into it. The first edition of Harlem Unbound was published in 2017, but it took years to conceive. Since then, a second edition was published and is available on Chaosium's website. Additionally, the fine folks at Roll20 have converted it into a Roll20 version that'll be available beginning next week. And yes, we're doing plugs at the very beginning because Harlem Unbound is my passion project. And I'm hoping that this live stream will help its message reach and go further than it has so far. Now, let's make sure that we're all on the same page. Lovecraft was racist, anti-Semite, misogynist, and very problematic even for his time. And anyone telling you anything else is lying to you. We're not here to talk about the man. We're here to reclaim the work, deconstruct it, and build it into a foundation of inclusion for something that we can use ourselves that reflects on the gaming world and our own real world at large. And Harlem Unbound, I was hoping would inspire more people to do that. It flips Lovecraft's narrative, addresses racism head on, and places the marginalized folks that he feared as protagonists. So let's visit Harlem during the Renaissance. And a myriad of reasons were necessary for the Renaissance to occur. It was the strangling of Reconstruction after the Civil War, the deadly Jim Crow laws crushing black people under heel, the Great Migration with folks trying to find safer pastures, and the economic impacts of the Great War. The Renaissance itself was a black artistic, political, sexual, intellectual movement to combat racist and oppressive systems. It may have faded, but its influences are unquestionable, and it ultimately led to the civil rights movement. When I created Harlem Unbound, I built in multiple tiers to help people engage with the racism in a manner where they could hopefully learn from it and not shy away from our ugly history of our past. And for this game, we're going to play around the 1.5 tier, or the passing Harlemite for people that are familiar with it, which means we'll use a racial tension modifier. The NPCs will be somewhat modulated. And I want to provide a content warning for people. This is a historical game, and we'll deal with racism and sexism of the time. The crux of the mythos itself involves regular folks encountering things beyond their ken that shatters most people. And Lovecraft created sort of a literary version of madness that is not reflective of real-world mental illness or pains that real people have suffered. And I want to make sure that people understand that before we start. And the Bail Project is an organization we're playing for today. It does incredible work combating mass incarceration. Donating to this organization is one way to help those in immediate need, for people that are out protesting, risking their lives, and this will save them from potentially being imprisoned, being torn away from their families. No one on the front lines fighting for racial justice should have to fear for their lives. All of that said, Hepcats, keep your eyes peeled, your wits ready, and your trusty sidearm near. Let's meet the cast. Jen, would you like to kick us off?
I am Jen Kretchmer. I am Dreamless on Twitter. And I'm so honored and excited to be here. I am obsessed with this game. I think it's phenomenal. And it's one of the best source books I've ever read. So I'm so thrilled to be here.
Ariel, would you like to go ahead?
Hi, I'm Ariel Celeste. I am also absolutely positively in love with Harlem Unbound. I had the great honor of getting to work on the second edition of it. It's my favorite thing to run, and it's just the best possible educational opportunity for everyone. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. And Chris is some of my favorite GMs, so yay!
No pressure. Matt.
Hi, I'm Matthew Mercer, GM of Critical Role and voice actor, and I'm just like everyone else here. It's an amazing supplement. Both from a narrative standpoint and mechanical aspects of working in the tension, the racial tension elements of it in a way that's accessible to so many people. It's brilliant, and I'm super excited, super honored to be here with you.
Misha.
Hi, Misha B. I'm BGB Marcus on Twitter. I'm excited I get to play this again. It's always interesting to play games with historical backgrounds that are rooted in Black people's stories. That is just so kind of true for me. And so excited.
And Quinn, can you wrap us up? And then after that, if everyone want to do a quick overview of your characters for everyone, then we'll jump into it.
Quinn Murphy. I'm Lieutenant Kretchmer Murphy on Twitter. Like everyone else, I'm just really excited. I haven't gotten to game with Chris before, so I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to doing Harlem Unbound. This is just like words sort of fail to describe sort of like how excited I am by the premise of this and everything that sort of has gone into it. So, yes.
All right. We'll start in reverse order. Quinn, can you tell everyone about your character? Then when we hit Jen, we'll move directly into the scenario.
Cool. So I am Archibald Warwick, and I am I definitely come from like a privileged background. That's going to be like typical, atypical of a lot of Black folk. They're sort of subscribing to this sort of theme of Du Bois' talented tenth. I'm there to sort of work and elevate the people. I'm a poet on the rise, but also kind of I'm like in that kind of middle part of it here, sort of showing promise, but trying to break through to the next thing. And so I've come here in Harlem, trying to kind of find my way.
Misha.
I will be playing Coretta Smith. She is a Georgia girl up in big city to maybe fleece some boys out of some cash, just a little bit. She doesn't have nearly the high, lofty ideals of Archibald there. She's just out for the money, and if she happens to maybe find love along the way, great. But that's kind of secondary.
Matthew.
I'll be playing Killian Byrne, Irish immigrant from the end of the 1800s who, based around the fact that he was alone out here and a family back home that didn't follow suit after he sent them the money he'd saved so hard for them, fell into a bit of a hard life of whatever was available in pay, which for him was, however, in trying to escape kind of a tumultuous past in of illegal and somewhat black activity, he cut and ran and is essentially starting anew in Harlem.
Ariel.
I am playing Amoya Clark. On the surface, she is a woman in her 30s who runs the family business, a funeral home that's been in Harlem for about 80 years. As the game goes on, we'll discover that there's more to Amoya than she seems. She's lived a life quite a bit longer than one would suspect, and she's going to convince the rest of she's going to show the rest of the party that, well, magic is real.
And I am playing Leora, also known as Lily Kaplan. She is a Jewish immigrant who was born in Jerusalem while it was under Ottoman control, and moved around a lot as a child, but eventually became a spy with Nilly, which was a Jewish spy ring aiding the British. And now I'm working as a nurse in Harlem.
All right, that's our cast of players. And for all of you, you've been invited to Celestina and Ralph's party tonight for different reasons. For instance, you know that Lily, you were invited by Bex because he wants to introduce you to some of his fellow veterans, and Celestina is someone you've bumped into before, and she sort of extended an invite to you. And Amoya, you've had unusual dreams lately, and you know that something is coming, and all you know for certain is it involves all of these people, and you need to do something to get them to fulfill whatever this purpose is. Killian, you know that Ralph's invited you. He's incredibly nervous about Javier because he and Celestina want to get married, and it has never worked out before. And he's as close as you have to family left here. Cora, you've been sort of sequestered by both Ralph and Celestina to bring the tea for the party, and they asked you to pick up all of their friends. And when you hit the back, you're supposed to beep 3 times, and some people will come out to take the tea out of the back of the car and bring it in the house. And they've asked you kind of to keep an eye on all these people because they're probably not used to the type of rent party they're about to get into. And Archibald, you're looking for more inspiration, and it was only through a stroke of luck that Ralph invited you here. So you're looking to try to find as many ways in as you can because you need that something that's missing from your work. It's always been close, but nothing ever quite lands properly. And so the group of you are going through the snowy streets of Harlem. It's right before 9, and even as you sort of pull up to the place around the back, Cora beeps the horn 3 times, and a couple of gentlemen come out, well appointed in pristine suits, and the 5 of you are sort of ushered inside. Even as you go inside, the party itself is hopping, and the band hasn't started playing yet. But what you see on the far side are 2 gentlemen, one of both muscular, one of which is a sort of a little bit smaller, and he's telling some sort of story. And you hear the little bit of the, and then there was gunfire all around me. The bullets were eating up the ground. And this big lug over here, and he pats his buddy, took a bullet. And so I put him on one shoulder, and then I took him and dropped him into the trench where he's safe. And then I turned, I saw another companion across the field, and I started to run at a dead sprint. And you see that he locks eyes with Archibald, almost looking for approval before he does what he's about to do.
Was sort of, sort of surprised, like I'm kind of, it like wakes me out of kind of like a reverie. I was kind of like going over and trying to, do stuff, and I kind of nod a little bit, like, if looking for approval, like, sure.
And he sprints over at that, grabs Archibald by the arm, and sort of like half puts him over one shoulder, and says, I carried someone else over 100 yards, firing behind me, just constant do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. And the larger man that was with him just sort of rolls his eyes. You can all tell that he doesn't believe the story, but the 50 people surrounding them are utterly engaged and entranced by this story.
And like, he still has me?
Yes. What are the group of you doing?
Yeah. I'm going to ask him to put me down. Sorry. And he sort of puts Archibald down, and he looks over at the rest of you and sort of like is trying to pull you into the story. His larger friend is just shaking his head very quietly.
Are you sure you carried that man all that way by yourself?
Most of the way.
And you didn't have any problems at all? I mean, I've heard of adrenaline flowing and things just being better when you're trying, but are you sure?
I was able to do it all by myself, and you see the larger guy that's with him finally goes, all right, Javier. I think we just need to, I think the band's ready to start playing. Maybe we cut the story short.
I'm gonna kind of mouth like, thank you, good friend. Not sure I can survive much more of the storytelling.
And almost as he finished saying it, you see the band sort of moves up onto stage, and as they do, the music overwhelms the entire crowd. Feet are starting to already go full force. There's actually a tip jar directly in front of the band that's half filled already, and the party's maybe been going for about 15 minutes. And you even find yourself sort of moving in time with the music. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello. How's it going?
You know, great, as well as could be expected. Does anyone need a recap? Are we good? Are we...
May we get a recap of why we are there?
All right. Me. So, the group of you are all invited to the party for different reasons. Lily, you were invited by Bex to meet some of his other war buddies, since the two of you sort of become fast friends and sharing stories. And Celestina, someone that you've met before once or twice at the hospital as she makes deliveries. Cora, you were asked to bring the tea and to watch out for these people that may not be used to what a rent party involves. And they kind of want you to keep the squares in line. Killian, you were invited by Ralph to help him sort of gain Javier's favor so that he can hopefully marry Celestina one day. Amoya, you've had weird dreams and you know that something is about to happen and all of these people are key to whatever that is. And you need to make sure that they fulfill that purpose. Archibald, you're looking for inspiration and you haven't found it anywhere else yet. You traveled on the ships, you didn't find it there, you wrote your book, it was mediocrely received, and now you're looking to make friends and find the best places to go. You showed up at the party, and the group of you had the pleasure of meeting... Give me 1 second while we get back online.
I got to be a prop in that story.
A large sack of potatoes prop.
Yes.
But sometimes that's the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
The group of you had the joy of meeting there it is. Javier and James. Javier was the shorter of the two that ran over and sort of pulled Archibald into the story. And you know that you were all... And the Charleston Kings have now actually taken to the stage and are starting to play. And as they're playing, the music is almost overwhelming. And people can like feel it and you're starting to just groove with the music almost unconsciously. Your feet are tapping and everything else. And the jar in the center of the room is slowly filling with more and more money as people donate. And the sense of home-cooked meals are sort of wafting in from the kitchens in apartment 101 and 102. Because the rent party itself was in the tenement building at 151st and Macomb Place. And it was the first ground two floors, 101 and 201. And they sort of combined together into one massive apartment that is filled to the brim with people. You can barely squeeze your way through all of the people. What are you all doing?
I'm probably helping set up the tea.
So you meet the two burly gentlemen that go by, then they kind of go by the lovely name of Deuce for the pair of them, and they bring it in, and they drop it off to more or less the wait staff that Celestina and Ralph have sort of convinced to help them out with the party. Because Killian knows that Ralph works at PJ Clark's, and it's sort of it was a bar until Prohibition, and then it wasn't a bar, but they actually still serve alcohol on the table that Killian delivers groceries to. And Cora, as you're sort of helping set up, you see that it is multiple bottles of homemade gin and a few select bottles of bourbon from Canada. What's everyone else doing?
I'm probably going to keep an eye and try and beeline to Ralph as soon as possible to see how he's holding up, and also feel like I know somebody here at the party, being kind of the odd man out.
All right. And Killian, you sort of make your way over to Ralph and Celestina. They're wandering through the party, sort of shaking hands as they go. And pretty much the group of you, except for Amoya, have heard a little bit about them. They both wanted to be musicians in the day, but neither had the talent or willingness to learn how to do it. And the one thing that they could do is throw a party. And they've almost turned it into a lucrative business just based on favors and being able to acquire hooch in a time when it wasn't available. And even as you come over, he sort of runs over and gives you a hug. And there's some unusual looks from people as he's hugging the older Irish gentleman that's probably in his late 50s, early 60s, like you're his brother.
Well, I can't say it's been quite some time since I've been to quite a shindig like this.
It's good to have you here. It makes me feel better, and I'm reassured that you're going to come do this for me. And that's Javier over there. I think he pulled you into his story, but he just doesn't. I don't get it.
Now, do you want me to try and butter him up with stories of you, if that's what you're looking for, particularly, or like I'm not usually the kind of person to, be a social engineer. I mean, look at me. As he kind of just rubs his scruffy ass chin and kind of heavily deep set eyes.
Right now, I just need, I guess, moral support, but be on standby, I guess.
Well, you got me at your side.
Leora, what are you doing? Jin, we can't hear you.
I am watching to see how Bex is reacting to the stories.
You've been here, the group of you have been here for about an hour or so, and Bex is nowhere to be seen.
Okay, do I know anyone else here?
You've met Celestina maybe a total of 3 times. It was mostly Bex that got them to invite you, because he wanted to introduce you to some other veterans, which you can assume would be Javier and James.
Okay. Are they surrounded by people still?
Javier is, as his story seems to get grander and grander. You notice that James is actually sort of sitting in the corner by the band, nursing something and keeping very quiet.
I think I'll walk over towards James and sort of stand nearby and say, pardon me, have you seen Bex?
Bex is usually late, but he's usually not this late. I'm assuming he'll be here any time now.
All right, thank you.
Archibald, what are you doing?
I was actually so I think I'm sort of like I just kind of found one of these invites and I'm kind of here on my own and I'm just looking for stuff, but also feeling a little awkward. And this is definitely kind of like a more intense party. This is not a kind of like, sort of more elite shindig that I'm used to. But the only person I like really kind of know and feel like I like talk to right now is Coretta. And like I kind of want to go over to Coretta and stuff. And like I keep hearing like about this tea that she's into. And it's like, hey, like finally something I could get into, right? So it's just, I want to go over. So what kind of teas have you brought in?
Oh, we have a delightful Canadian, and a lovely vintage from downtown.
Like what kind of leaf?
She just kind of like gives you this look.
Yeah. I all that innuendo is just like running right past my head. I'm on that regard, like Archibald doesn't even think about that kind of stuff. So he's sort of he might need an education.
She reaches down and like pours him a couple of fingers worth into a glass. And here, darling, why don't you try?
Oh.
She winks at you.
Oh. Tea.
Tea.
Well, I mean, okay, right? Sort of. I'll kind of take the little bit I've got, and I want to start then, kind of looking around for something interesting, something.
You can hardly move. You've got your tea in one hand, And the party is so packed full of people that every time you try to move, you're sort of bumped into the wall and a little bit of tea spills on you. But people are dancing and the music is loud and just blasting. Amoya, what are you doing?
Amoya has a flask in her clutch filled with a much finer single malt than is circulating through the party. And she's drinking that, sipping it slowly, and watching all of the people that matter and doing my best to overhear conversations, watch interactions, assess who these individuals are, and not having any problem navigating the tight spaces and the moving bodies, and the music is not quite as loud for me at the moments that I need it to not be. And just trying to find, is this the appropriate moment to approach any of these individuals, or do I need to let them do what they're doing for now?
Okay. So as the group of you are doing that, about another hour or so passes by. Can everyone make me a hard spot hidden roll?
Hard?
Not high.
Ah. Dice
Did that work?
Hate me so much today.
Is everyone logged into roll 20?
Yeah, I'm just looking on my sheet.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there. It's tucked right there. Okay, perfect. Oh no. I'm enjoying this new tea. Touch much.
Super drawn into Javier's stories at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So, Cora, as the only person to successfully make that roll, which, before we go too much further, I'd like to talk a little bit about the donations. For every $25 that we receive in one of the encounters, we'll start subtracting sanity points. For every $25, we have a negative sanity point total. For every $50, a negative hit point total. For every $100, everyone receives a free reroll, and for every $500, one character can avoid certain death. And I will let the group of you decide who gets what for the certain death when it comes up.
Got it.
All right, now with all that in mind, Cora, you spot both Javier and James moving incredibly, almost robotically towards the door. And then they step outside into the freezing cold without their coats. They're both sort of in dress shirts and like jeans, and they walk out into the biting cold. That you know that all of you are completely covered up in coats, hats, the whole 9 yards. Everyone else, the party's moving. You're sort of like grooving in time with it.
If Archibald's still like hovering near me, I tap him on the shoulder and point to the door.
Archibald, you catch the tail end of Smithson, who is a massive, over 6 foot tall wall of muscle stepping outside without a coat.
It's cold. Why is he doing that? Something wrong?
That's not unusual. I mean, most people don't go out weather like this without a coat.
Yeah.
I reach down and grab my shawl and head towards the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll join.
The two of you manage to fight your way through the dancers in the crowd. And as you reach the door and you push it open, you see that both of the Hellfighters are probably about 20 feet ahead of you. Can everyone else make me a hard listen roll, except for Archibald and Cora, who you hear this weird pipe music actually sort of overpowering the slamming band that you were listening to inside when you opened the door. It is so loud that it actually overpowers that music completely, and all you can hear is the pipe music from outside. Both Killian and Amoya, you also hear sort of an undercurrent of pipe music that doesn't match at all what the band is playing. Killian, all you know is that Ralph is back next to you talking about, so I tried to talk to Javier before he like vanished, I guess, with someone. And he's not willing to let me propose. He tells me that I'm not a stand-up guy.
Just a second here. Can you hear that? A strange sound.
He just looks, and he points towards the band that the two of you are standing next to. It's hard to miss them.
We've made our goal.
For those of you that made it, well, thank you everyone for your donations. Thank you.
I'm gonna up that.
Yay!
You know what? After the debacle of us going down for 15 minutes, preparing to go outside, I assume, and you've got Amoya and Leora that have heard the music, and it's almost overpowering the music that you're standing next to. And Killian, you've caught a whiff of it, but Ralph seems to be utterly engaged in trying to get you to solve his problem right now for some reason.
Right. And then you say like pipe music. Is it like we're talking like cathedral pipe music?
No, it's almost like a wind instrument sort of pipe music. For you, it's harder to hear. You're just barely catching the undercurrent of it. For everyone else, you can tell it's definitely some sort of wind instrument that is not anything related to what you've heard before. Is it a flute? Is it bagpipes? Something. But it's definitely coming from outside. And Cora and Archibald, it is almost overwhelming. And you see the Hellfighters still slowly marching down the street. So we'll start with the two of you at the door. What are you doing?
Hey, where you going?
They don't turn. They walk robotically, almost like automatons forward. And you can't see very far because the light from inside of the party is blocking most of your vision.
Can we try and catch up with them?
Sure. Is that what the two of you want to do, or just Archibald?
Yeah.
All right. The two of you sprint out into the cold after them, and the door sort of closes shut behind you. And you are probably about 5 feet from them, and even when you came in, the snow was falling. There are a lot of cars covered in snow. And the two of you see almost, it looks like, is that a marching band that's about 150 feet ahead of us, slowly moving towards them? You can't quite make out whatever it is, but it is a large mass of people, and it sounds like music's coming from them. Amoya and Leora, the two of you finally make your way to the door. You saw both Cora and Archibald go outside, completely covered up in coats. What are you two doing?
I would very much like to try to follow the music, the pipe.
I think also I would go along.
All right. The two of you step outside in time to see Cora and Archibald catch up with both Javier and James, who don't have coats on, and that's really all you can see, but the music is incredibly loud. Killian, do you break away from Ralph, who is trying to get you to solve his problem now, to follow this weird music that you're hearing, or do you help your friend, who is almost like a brother? The only family that you would really have stateside.
Oh no, the music is not, it's curious, but it's not enough to draw my attention entirely. So I kind of shake my head and look around. I'm like, all right, I suppose if I have something to do here, it's to help you out. So lead on, let me follow whatever it is you want me to be doing.
And you see he glances all around. I could have sworn that he was right over there. And he sort of points to a far side of the room by where all the coats are. He still has to be here, and because he points, that's his coat. I guess stand here. I'll go check the apartment. I'll be right back. And he sort of vanishes into the party of dancers. Cora and Archibald, you're right on top of the Hellfighters. And that's when you hear something that starts very slow, and then it just builds up into a and you see a round of bullets come flying towards a group of you from that marching crowd. Can the two of you make me a dodge roll?
I hope I can.
Like, probably not. I'll try.
Regular.
Yeah, normal dodge roll.
Oh, wait.
Cora and
I did that
Leora,
on
sorry,
hard, so
Amoya and Leora, you both see a hail of bullets come from somewhere down the street towards the four of them.
I dive immediately for cover.
Amoya?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The two of
Diving,
you,
hiding.
the two of you easily make it as they weren't aiming for you. But unfortunately, Cora
I
and
think-
Archibald.
So I goofed and I did it as a hard dodge instead of a regular dodge.
Make it a regular dodge, please.
And I just the bullets were coming from where?
From whatever that marching band is.
Oh,
Cora,
That is the one.
With your extreme success, I will let you grab Archibald and both of you dive for cover as a
Nice.
hail of bullets goes directly where he was chest-wise.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
First the tea introduction, then you saving my skin. I'm gonna owe you something.
So much.
After this.
Yeah, I grab him and like dive between the cars that are parked.
Okay. And you see that the gunfire snaps the Hellfighters out, who also dive behind a car. Leora and Amoya, you see the bullets slam into the side of the building. Killian, you know that sound very well. It's a sound
Yes, I
that you
do.
yourself have dispensed many times. It is some sort of automatic weapon being fired outside.
Is it from the direction that Ralph is heading?
No, Ralph is going the other way. This is coming from directly out the door where he pointed where Javier's coat was.
I'm rushing to, not into the door frame, but to the edge of the door frame just to peek out and see what's happening.
Okay. Can Cora and Archibald make me a spot hidden roll? And Leora and Amora make me hard spot hidden rolls. Killian, from your vantage point, I need an extreme spot hidden roll. And don't forget, the group of you have rerolls if that's what you would like to use them for.
I will. Because why not? Nah.
Extreme success.
Go Archibald.
Okay, really, Archibald.
Things are coming up, Archibald.
Archibald, as Cora threw you on the ground and you sort of like peek up to take a look at what's going on, you spot through the snow and through like the bad moonlight, you catch a glimpse of the slowly stumbling people moving towards you. They're definitely in some sort of tattered World War I uniform, and even as you sort of look up, you see that flesh is hanging off the side of their faces and rotting, and maggots are sort of writhing through as they're walking directly towards you. Make me a sanity check.
Okey-dokey. Hopefully I'll do that. I won't. a critical failure.
Archibald.
This is perfect for Archibald too. Like he's not ready for this. He just learned about tea, right?
Archibald, you lose 5 points of sanity.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just like, ah!
So
I'm freaking out.
now what I need for you to do is to make me a intelligence roll. Because right now, you sort of glimpsed the other side, and your brain is processing it. And it becomes a matter of if you reject it and find something to grab onto, or if you fully understand the horrors of the universe.
Was that a regular or a hard?
And you made a hard success. So
Okay.
this is a roll that you wanted to fail. This is where your mind would have protected you from seeing these things. Instead, you run directly into it. And as you see this dead walking soldier, it suddenly so many things that you saw below decks aboard those ships where people were just vanishing and the food always tasted a little weird, or some of the shadows that you saw lurking overseas weren't just shadows, but they were things in existence. And your mind gently snaps ever so much. Can you roll me a d6?
Yes. 6. Is that good?
That is a great roll. That is the best roll you could have rolled in this situation. Cora, Archibald looks at you, then screams and sprints away in a random direction, just a dead run, screaming the entire time. You've never heard a scream that loud in your entire life.
Am I running back towards the party?
Oh no. Oh no.
No, or running like.
You're
off
not
the
running
side?
towards them. You're running
Okay.
sideways. You're running
Okay.
into the ether equivalently to vanish soon.
Okay.
Leora and Amora. You didn't make your spot. You didn't make your rolls, I don't think. What are the two of you doing? You see that you hear Archibald scream and run away from Cora. You see the two Hellfighters popping up, firing guns towards something in the distance.
There's
can't-
still combat happening, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know how this sort of thing goes, I think. And I want to stay away from it, but I want to be there to help when things are over. See if I can, if there's anyone I can help there.
Okay.
Is there any way to get a little closer safely?
Yes, you can spin like equivalent this round, sort of low crawling to move towards them through the snow and staying behind cars.
I will do that, please.
Okay. Amoya, what are you doing?
Can I see this zombie crowd from where I am?
Do you just want to stand up and take a look specifically?
As cautiously as possible, yes. I would like to know why the young man is screaming.
Make me a spotting roll.
Hard or regular?
Normal success is all we need. And as you look up, you see rotting flesh coming off of them. And it actually reminds you of something that you're working on back at the funeral home. But you still need to make me a sanity roll.
Mm-hmm. Surprising.
2 in a row.
You lose 2 points of sanity. You see this
And-
undead thing moving, and from the number of them, you know that it's something incredibly powerful to be able to animate that many undead, as you yourself can only do 1 or 2 at a time.
Wait, do we have a thing from the donation? Are we able to like deplete that sanity loss?
Yes, we are. Thank you for
You know-
reminding me. I'm still getting caught back up after our snafu.
I just feel like we might need Amoya sane. we're gonna need an adult in the room.
I think
And
Quinn's
Amoya
onto
might
something
be-
here.
So, in fact,
Looks like we blew past
you,
our second.
Archibald,
had
if you
blown
want,
past and
we can do sort of an old Doctor Who move, and we restart the episode, rewind 30 seconds, and then
Oh
change
no!
it.
Oh no! I'm good.
Wait,
I'm
wait.
good. I'm good.
If you would like to spend 5 of your sanity points, not for you to break and run off in the distance screaming.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
sorry, for pulp, it's twice as much. So, no, donation, you're right. So if you spend five points, you could be shaken but not stirred.
Yeah, I would do that. If people are okay with that.
And Amoya, if you can do the same thing if you want to spend 2. But the group of you need to decide if this is how you want to spend your currently banked 34 sanity points you could buy off.
No, I'm
or if you
perfectly
think
fine
that I have
losing
something
2 right now.
scarier coming.
Yes. I'll lose 2 right now. That's fine.
Archibald?
If folks are okay with that, I'll be a little less useless. Okay.
Go for it.
That's useless is good.
So you've used 5 points.
I feel like worse things are coming.
Cora and everyone. Archibald doesn't run off into the ether. He squeals, but stays seated beside you. Killian, there's gunfire. There you see Hellfighters shooting at something shooting back at them. You're safely still at the party behind the door, and no one else has noticed any of this.
Is there... Okay, no one else noticing this. As loud as I can, shout back into the room so that people who are in the party just like, gunfire! Go! Protect yourself! Find somewhere to hide! And reaching in and pulling out my revolver, look for some sort of position to find cover closer towards where this is happening.
Okay. Easily. You're trying to stay inside the apartment, or you want to go outside the apartment?
I'm going to go outside the apartment.
Okay. Easily, there's the streets lined with cars. And you easily find one of those. And even as you shout back, you see a few people move, and everyone else sort of laugh about the drunk old man as he sprints out the door.
Do they see me pull out my revolver as I shout this before sprinting out the door?
Some of them do, but the door closes behind you, so you're unsure of what that's going to do.
Fair enough.
The group of you, all outside now. The music's louder, and they're slowly shuffling forwards. Can everyone that hasn't seen them now make me spot and roll? As the moonlight hits them just right, and they're fully in view.
Oh yeah, I see.
regular spot
Oh
hidden?
crap.
Yes, regular spot hidden.
I need glasses.
Cora and Leora, the two of you see As they move forward, there's at least 40 of them. And all of them, flesh is sort of dropping off them even as they walk, but they're still slowly ambling forwards, firing at you. Can each of you make me a sanity check? And the music is louder. Outside, you can't hear any of the music from inside the party. You can't hear anything except this pipe music as it sort of burrows its way into you.
See, I told you dice rollers hate me.
Archibald, I didn't need another sanity roll from you.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
But if you want, I will happily let you lose some more sanity if you'd like to.
No. We're good.
I was
Just,
the other one there,
getting-
correct?
Yes.
Cora and Leora, you both lose 4 points unless you'd like to spend some from your bank. At 5 points is where you risk sort of a temporary madness effect.
Okay.
I'm
I
okay
haven't
with keeping it.
rolled it yet either, so yeah. Oh yeah, not good.
Spend or not spend from you two.
I will not spend currently.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the dangerous thing.
I will.
You will?
I will.
It's up to your group for all of you to decide together.
No, I won't. I'm good.
No, I mean, I'm good with it.
All right. You choose not to spend, and even as it sort of hits you, you both are stopped for like just the briefest of moments, but you manage to suppress it. Cora, from the hard life you lived in Georgia, you're able to push past it. And Leora, from the things that you did in the war, this is sort of like a Tuesday for you. And as they're moving forward, the music's getting louder. And even as they're so much closer and you can almost begin to smell the rotting flesh, the sound of police sirens are sort of cutting through the air, and it sort of stifles the music. And before any of you can act, these 6 police cars sort of like pull up through the distance, and their lights are shining, and the entire army of undead for some of you, assailants for others, vanish. And you're all stuck under the headlights of 6 police cars. And we're going to go to an intermission right now for a 5-minute break for everyone. So my wonderful cast can take a moment.
We have blown past our $1,500 goal. We're going to bump that to $2,000.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. We're going to update the totals. We'll be back in 5-ish minutes, assuming we don't crash again. And
No,
you're
we'll be
all
fine.
amazing.
We're good.
Thank you.
And the mass of undead sort of vanish all in one flash as 6 police cars, shining headlights on all of you,
And the mass
are there. And out of the group, out of each police car, it sort of spills 2 different police officers. Guns already drawn, pointed directly at the group of you, shouting for you to drop, get down right now. What do you all do?
I comply.
Yes.
I do have a question. Did Javier and James disappear with them?
No, the 2 of them both drop to the ground with you.
Okay.
we need to turn off one of the audio inputs that is coming in. I'm getting an echo.
Hey, folks. Technical issues.
Quick
It's
stop
always
now.
fun.
How about now?
Is that better, everybody?
Better? Echo, echo? Better.
Tick-tock,
You,
tick-tock.
you should have your mic off and your desktop on. Sweet. Great. Excellent.
I promise only to make 100 more mistakes before we're done today.
It's
Feels like a low bar.
curve.
Thanks.
To be doing the tech on your own first channel stream, like that's a huge.
We just needed a
achievement
couple of
and
minutes
accomplishment.
anyway because we have surpassed another goal on the so
Oh my
we need to up it.
goodness.
So we just needed some
Let's go ahead
time
and
to
do
catch
that
up
too.
and yeah, it's fine.
Thank you, everyone, for your donations. That just means I will now up the horror to offset the greatness that you provided them.
Yay!
Perfect.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, what?
So as the group of you drop into the snow, the freezing ground, Javier and James are also already down. You see that 3 of them stay with pistols drawn on you, and 3 rush towards the party. And they just start shouting out, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Do any of you answer, or do you let Javier and James answer?
Are Javier and James in uniform?
No. They we're in 1920. The Hellfighters got back at least over a year ago, and so they're working normal jobs now. For those that can find them.
I just was at a party. She starts crying.
Can I like try and like persuade them like you know like I'll complying and then was like I think there's been some sort of mistake. And can I try and like persuade them to like.
So you're face down in the snow right now. Everyone else around you. One of them sort of walks over to you, gun close to you, and says, "Go ahead, talk. Go ahead, speak, boy." I need a hard persuade roll from you as you're sort of half glancing up, half face buried in the snow.
Sure. I got a hard success.
And he goes, "All right, I'm listening. Make it quick."
We were just coming out here. Well, I guess the first thing I want to kind of do, sort of convince them, like, hey, nothing illegal's happening. Here we're like we just came out here. These 2, you can see those 2 there without a coat, right? We're just trying to get them, get them coat, get them back, and we're just, chilling about peacefully. I don't know how much they're going to buy that, but.
What are the rest of you doing? You hear Archibald is attempting to persuade the officer that's standing over him. Some other ones have gone inside. There's 2 others that are sort of keeping close by to you. And Killian, you know just from past experience that they probably already called for Paddy Wagon to come in.
Yeah.
Cora, you know that the Paddy Wagon from past experience would take probably about 30-40 minutes to get here.
Well, I know from past experience that these things usually go better when the white people talk.
I mean, yeah. Cora is
So.
bawling. It's completely fake bawling,
Are-
but she
are
is
you-
bawling.
Are you close enough to me that I can come over and try and comfort you?
Do you try to move?
Does it look like there's a safe way to do so?
There are 2 officers. You're in the snow, and they have guns drawn. But both Killian and Leora will notice that they are not directly pointed at you. They are stationed closer to your companions.
Yeah, if I think there's a way that I can go help, I will try and help.
You notice that when you get up and you sort of start to moving, one of them glances at you and gives you a very stern look, but lets you go ahead and move.
Okay.
Archibald, you see the one that you're talking to sort of says, all right, son, I believe that you don't want any trouble. But then I need to know why you're out here shooting up this place.
I'm not shooting up the place. I don't know where the gunfire came from. I don't have a gun.
And you see that he points at Javier and James, who both have very large guns.
They were. I mean, gunfire came out with that. They were just trying to defend themselves. Is he? Am I getting the sense that he's kind of like he's giving me an opportunity to talk? But is he?
You know that he is letting
more
you
or less
speak.
shut off.
No, you know he's letting you speak. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten this far.
Okay. Yeah.
But you do see they let Leora go over, and they don't say anything to her. They just sort of give her some weird looks. That's it. Amoya,
Yeah.
Killian, or Cora, are you doing anything else? I know Cora's currently crying, and Leora's coming over to you.
I guess Killian at this point, as soon as the cops began to arrive and this group of people, which he didn't actually see were undead. I think it was the one person who didn't realize that this was how he's like, there's just a group of people and then they vanished. This is weird. But us, knowing the cops are here, took and just kind of threw his pistol under the car he was hiding behind before putting his hands up. Kind of speaks up a bit and goes, "Officers, you saw that group of people out here when you first arrived, right? That just went away. That's not normal."
Hey, Pops, we think you're drunk. Why don't you just go ahead and walk on home?
I'm not.
Are there?
Do
is
you
there
stay
any
or... Sorry, 1 second. Killian, do you stay or do you leave?
I stay because this is not a this is not a good situation for everyone else involved. So I'm gonna stay to just keep an eye.
Okay. Leora, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Is there any evidence of what just happened here?
The only evidence that you can see is you can actually look around are the 2 Hellfighters with very large guns that obviously been fired, the group of you lying in the snow, and there is no sign of anyone having been down the street. Because the snow is still falling, you're guessing by now, it's been 15, 20 minutes, any footsteps would have been snowed over.
Are there any like bullet holes in the walls or vehicles around us?
You would assume, but you haven't had a chance to look.
If I may, there was something happening. Clearly, we wouldn't have dived into the snow in the middle of winter if there wasn't something happening here.
Look, lady, we can tell that you're not from around here. You don't really know how things work. So just let us do our job and we'll all be a lot happier. And even as they're talking to you, you see that another patrol car slowly pulls up. It's probably been about an hour that you're all outside now, sort of negotiating and trying to deal with the situation. And 2 officers get out, and one of the officers that has their guns drawn sort of holsters and goes back and talks to them. And the 3 of them get into a very heated debate. And they seem to be pointing at Javier and James. And the one that arrived a long time ago is shaking his head no. And the other 2 are like pointing towards their car and those 2. Can everyone make me a hard listen roll? Killian and Archibald.
The answer is no.
Killian and Archibald. You overhear the 2 officers say, "We need to take them to the 32nd." And the one officer that was already here was like, "You can't take them. They're coming to the 30th. It's illegal for me to hand over my prisoners to you." And then there's a huge lull, and they sort of whisper more back and forth. And the one officer acquiesces and says, "Fine, take them to the 32nd. I don't care." And you see the 2 other officers pick up both Javier and James, load them into the back of the car, and drive off. And he comes over to the officer that you've been talking to, Archibald, and goes, "All right, I don't care. Just cut them all loose. Tell them to go home, get off the street. If we see them tonight, we're going to arrest all of them." And he relays that you should all go home tonight. You all got lucky. Don't let us catch you here again.
All right, thank you, officer.
I'll just nod.
And the paddy wagon pulls up. See, most of the people from the party are actually sent home. A few are arrested. and the 5 of you are cut loose. It's probably around midnight-ish now. What are you doing?
Nope. But what was it you said specifically they were going to take Javier and James?
The Archibald and Killian overheard they're taking them to the 32nd.
32nd, gotcha.
Instead of the 30th, which everyone else is going to.
I'll go ahead and covertly retrieve my temporarily hidden pistol and just pocket it.
I guess I'll sort of, Archibald will sort of ask, we're all out there at this point now. They said they were taking Javier and James to the 32nd instead of the 30th. What's the difference? I'm new, so I don't know.
Both Cora and Killian can tell you that police have jurisdiction where they can actually sort of do certain things usually. Mm-hmm. And it is at best unusual, sometimes illegal, for another precinct to come in and take another person's prisoner on site without filing any paperwork.
It would be like somebody from Alabama taking somebody from Georgia that got arrested in Georgia for something that happened in Georgia.
Well, I know. Sorry, I think the question for him is there? What do we know about the 30th or the 32nd? I guess this is really more like is there something like that? Like that seems weird. But do they have like a reputation for anything?
If anyone has organized crime, can they make me a roll?
Okay. Wah, failure.
You're not sure. They're cops. They're doing what cops do.
Does anyone at the party know?
When you go inside and actually ask around from the roughly 10 or 15 people left, you get the sense that the 32nd has a lot more, someone says, lucrative deals with people. And they leave it at that. Which, as the group of you are standing there sort of discussing this, you see that both Ralph and Celestina come up to you at the party, well, what's left of the party, after you mention the 32nd, and ask if you can help get Javier and James out. And you see that Celestina looks at Ralph and says, if you can tell him it's Ralph's idea that you could get them out of jail, that would likely have Javier favor Ralph more. Because the reason we're throwing all these parties is to make money. And if Javier won't agree to us getting married, then I'm not going to let him stop us, and we're just going to move to Chicago. We'd like to live here because this is our home, but we're going to be together one way or the other.
For my personal reference here, I'm not certain how much I can do, but I'll do what I can.
Well, if we can get them to get bail, I'm sure that the funeral home can post bail for them.
How much tea do we have left?
Most of the tea's gone, either from drink or as people were beating feet out the back, they grabbed a bottle.
Is there enough left for a bribe or two?
You know there's not enough left here, but you know enough people that you could make it happen if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that Ralph sort of looks at Celestina and sort of like touches her gently on the shoulder and goes, well, there's always the armory that's open tomorrow. If you don't have the money, maybe there Lieutenant Lance could do something to help. And Celestina says, well, there's always Bex, which he goes to the UNAI building a lot. Or maybe he's still upstairs in the apartment. It's weird he didn't come down tonight.
Didn't see him. He lives in the same building.
He's up on the 8th floor.
And can I go there?
Sure.
See if he's there?
Do you want to walk through the tenement building after 2-ish, around 1-ish in the night at night, by yourself?
Probably not.
I guess at this point, if we've all kind of congregated a bit after the police have left and we've had a kind of some individual conversations, gonna start glancing over towards the individuals that I haven't met, which is everybody formally, and feel like, all right, so just out of personal curiosity, you all saw that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Group of
Indeed.
ghosts shooting people.
What specifically were we seeing?
It's just not every day like you have some sort of a strange regiment come down the streets and vanish before your eyes, let alone have the police arrive that quickly.
I mean, that's the really surprising part of the whole thing. I mean, the cops were like Johnny on the spot here.
It is not entirely impossible to reanimate a corpse to some level, but
Whoa!
I'm
Wait,
sorry?
Ralph and Celestina dropped their drinks.
I understand. Let's, but as
That's
evidenced by what we all
physiologically
witnessed in the
impossible.
street, but let's focus on the fact that there was a great number of them. They were clearly from a very specific historical time period. Yes, the police were rather involved rather quickly and seemed to have their own particular agenda going on.
Could I recognize what their uniforms were?
You definitely recognize them as German World War I soldiers.
Right.
So, wrong year, wrong continent.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would they be doing marching down on a rent party in Harlem?
That's an excellent question.
I believe, Mr. Warwick, that is the question.
Can we go back to the
Why?
raising undead people thing?
Yeah. I'm thinking with. And what's your name, lass?
Amoya Clark. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Killian. And you, sir, pointing over towards Archibald.
Archibald Warwick.
Oh, aye. Ralph's talked about your work before. I'm aware of you.
Oh, really? Kind of straighten up a little bit. Oh, yeah. It's great.
Not familiar myself, but I've heard it.
I'm sorry, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a man of words, poet.
Oh, lovely.
And Ralph sort of leans over. Maybe like give him a little taste from the book.
Oh, I mean, I'm a little fake modesty, like I couldn't, but bam, I've got it right there. I've got we got the book right there, right? I even have, no one have to make a spot hidden roll to see the place I already have like bookmarked there for just
Get a star on your
such an
face.
occasion. Yeah, just really okay, fine. And I pull it out and as I walk down these streets, I see in the electric savagery of this concrete jungle of the city, a place where sleepers will awaken, where he who sleeps will awaken. And I on that last line, I'm gonna kind of like, because I don't remember writing that, right? But like I'll be like a little shocked, but it's like a little one of my shortest ones. I like it, but something's a little off, and I'll let that hit for people. It's a short one. I have longer ones bookmarked, but this is the one I'll go with there to see how people take it.
Killian slowly raises his hands and just kind of goes.
It was lovely work.
Little weird.
But
Is
you
it-
see
I'm,
both
I'm,
Ralph.
I'm branching out into new things.
Is it possible that I'm a little concerned because I seem to recognize that as not his and much older than he is?
And at that, you see both Ralph
I'm-
and Celestina thank you for looking into the matter, and they sort of step to the side as you talk about undead armies and possibly stealing someone else's written work.
I didn't catch your name, Miss, pointing over towards Cora.
Cora.
Killian, pleasure.
You were around the hospital a few months ago, weren't you? You were with the doctor?
I thought I recognized your face.
Yes, I recognize you, but Cora,
One of your last scams did involve you sort of using a doctor's access to the hospital.
Yes. You might have.
I thought you looked familiar. Lovely to meet all of you.
Right. So, we've all seen something weird. Some of us more than seen, apparently. And we've got some friends to try and get out of it. So,
I do have a friend here who was supposed to be at the party but didn't show. Would anyone accompany me upstairs?
I'll come with you.
Is your friend more like, and I point the two of you, or like, and I point to the three of us? Oh, okay.
In fact, you may have seen him around the hospital.
Ah.
So, he's upstairs? He's 8th floor, you said?
Does everyone go to the 8th floor?
Actually, I would like to go back outside to where the appearance and disappearance happened.
Okay. Amoya steps outside. Are the rest of you going up to the 8th floor?
I am not going up to the 8th floor.
I'll be accompanying her.
Archibald?
I'll go up to the 8th floor.
All right. Cora, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go with Amoya and like pull my flask out. It's like, this is weird.
All right. So the two of you step outside. I'll come back to you in 1 minute. The three of you make your way upstairs, and you make your way to Bex's apartment door. It's 806. It appears to be locked, and there's some light coming from under the door.
I'll knock. Bex, it's Lily.
And you hear, please come in.
And I open the door. I have a friend with me. A few friends.
And you see Beck sort of standing in the middle of the apartment. The apartment itself looks pretty neat. There's sort of a workbench on one side with some stuff on it. There's a bed, and the walls are lined with books about engineering topics, radiation, and those sorts of things. Lily, it's great to see you again. Hi,
Right, you
Lily's
didn't
friends.
come to the party.
Party?
Downstairs. Were you not? reason I'm here.
Oh, the party downstairs. Yes. I was gonna make it, but I, as always, I got distracted by something.
Some things happened there, and some of your friends, I think the friends you wanted me to meet have been arrested.
Could you be more specific about these friends?
Javier? No?
You said friends, so that's one. It's a little late, so I'm feeling a little tired tonight. Back to the three of you in a second. Amoya and Cora, the two of you make your way outside. It is still freezingly cold. Probably around 3-ish in the morning now after all the talking inside. And you sort of go out to where the original, as Amoya said, undead army was. What do you do when you get there? It's covered with snow. Most of it's any sort of proof of anything being there is long since been covered over.
I like looking at the walls.
When you go back to the apartment building and look at it, there are a number of bullet holes in the wall. But when you sort of like put your finger inside to sort of pull out a shell casing or anything, there are no casings. They're just holes with nothing inside of them.
Mm-hmm. Do I have a spell that will give me information about perhaps where they came from, how they got there, why they're there?
Make me a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
I am happy to do that. Except I'm on the wrong screen for it. Let's see.
While we're taking a rolling break, thank you everyone for your donations. We appreciate it. We see them and we incredibly happy. Thank you.
No.
Reroll.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use the reroll. I would like to.
The party agree to a reroll use?
Can we do that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, fingers crossed. Here we go. Oh, worse.
Reroll.
Oh, terrible.
So, they have donated over $3,000. If you would like to have a few more rerolls, you've been empowered by the people out there for you to succeed.
Oh my God, you all are amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to do it again. Oh, it's got worse.
Other way.
So since we're
I love
95,
this.
like at some point, do you just have to start going, like, the law of large numbers has to kick in here at some point. Okay, one more. I'm done.
Okay, they don't.
That's it.
Do you
I
want
give
to do
up.
one more just for good measure?
Okay, sure, why not? Wait, I me do the right thing. I got once again. And this is me in real life with dice at the table, as Chris knows.
I personally could want you to roll a 96. So if you want to keep re-rolling.
No, I'm done. I'm fine.
Keep donating so we can keep getting
At some point, you gotta read what the wind's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So you stoop down to the snow. Your dress is already ruined because the police officers making you jump down into it.
Oh yeah.
And you sort of move the snow around, trying to get a sense of it. You know that something magical has happened here, but you can't quite place it. And it's even more frustrating because you know that this is almost some sort of magic that you yourself have dealt in the past. Cora, Amora is out in the middle of the street playing in the snow for about 10 minutes. She moves snow to the side. She makes like a little snow pile, moves it again to the side, mumbles some sort of chant to herself, and then sort of looks back at you with an unknowing shrug. All right.
Wow. You okay?
Amoya decides that is the most appropriate reaction and reaches into her clutch for her flask and joins her.
Leora, Archibald, and Killian. You see that Beck sort of looks at you. Please, feel free. Come on in. Come on in.
Look to Archibald and shrug and enter.
And as a group of you come in, and he's sort of, please close the door behind you. You said you want to talk about my friends and the party tonight? Only looking at you,
Yes.
Leora.
Yes, there was something that. Are you all right?
I feel perfectly fine. Better than I felt in a long time. Can everyone in the room make me a hard listen check?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to take a reroll on that if I can.
Does your party agree?
Mm-hmm.
Please. Hey.
Nice.
All right. And Killian, as you sort of come in the room and you all sort of situate yourselves and get comfortable in the small apartment, you can swear you hear a faint buzzing noise. You can't quite place it, but every time Beck seems to talk is when you hear it a little bit louder and clearer. When he doesn't, it's still in the air, but you can't pinpoint it. But no, I feel perfectly fine, Lior. It's been a long night, long hours. Always reading. Me and books. Books and me. You've known Bex for a while now, and you've never seen Bex smile quite so much before.
Absolutely. Well, it was lovely seeing you, and have a wonderful night. I sort of give a glance to Archibald and Killian.
I'm gonna give a glance back to Leora and kind of give as best I can, insinuate that something is really wrong here. Just kind of like
And I'm...
Archibald, what are you doing? Their glances aplenty. Bex seems totally oblivious.
Hey, I'm going to kind of strike up something with Bex. Hey,
hey, buddy.
Nice. Hey, nice to meet you, Archibald. Extend the hand.
Awkwardly extends his hand for you to shake it.
Okay, yeah, shake hand. Something of a rising poet in residence, but we'll talk about that later. What do you do?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mechanics.
Oh, okay.
Mechanics.
And I guess sort of where I want to go. I kind of want to maybe engage them in some small talk and kind of see if they can.
So as you're sort of
get some
talking back and forth, Leora, can you make me a first aid or intelligence roll? As you're talking back and forth, you notice about every 8th sentence, he repeats the same last 2 words again. Throughout your entire 10, 15-minute conversation. Which, whatever you talk about, he riffs with, but it's always the same. Around the 8th to 10th sentence, he repeats the last 2 words twice.
Okay. And then, I think that the nature of the short talk, the small talk that I try and do with them is sort of I try and kind of relate sort of the work of poetry to sort of the mechanics and sort of sciencey work that he's into and kind of.
True. Some people would think that liberal arts are equal to actual science in work.
I'll swallow it. This is for the good. I'm trying to learn things. But yeah, well, that is nice of you to say.
By the way, both after about 10, 15 minutes, Leora, you and Archibald also hear a faint buzzing sound. Killian, the buzzing sound is every time Bex speaks.
As this 10-minute conversation's happening, I'm just kind of slowly casing the interior of the space and seeing if I can pick up any sort of source of the buzzing, or at least see if there's a direction or location that it's coming from.
After that it is specifically coming from Bex, almost as if it's right behind Bex. Whenever Bex moves, if he were sitting in line like the couch here, it sounds like the buzzing sound is right behind the chair he's sitting in. If he gets up and moves to the refrigerator, it sounds like it's at the fridge right behind him. But it's wherever Bex goes in the apartment is where the buzzing sound is. Amoya and Cora, you've been outside now for about 15, 20 minutes. It's pretty cold. Your friends are still inside. They have not come down yet. You haven't found anything else of interest out here.
Well, there's certainly no reason to stand in the freezing cold. So
yeah, I got a car with a heater if you want to sit.
I think I would like to go back inside and see that Miss Lily's friend is okay.
I mean, okay, sure. That's not a horrible idea, I suppose. Why are you playing in the snow again?
You saw the same thing that I saw, an impossible, unexplainable occurrence. But something that impossible leaves traces. And I was trying to see if I could glean anything from those traces.
Okay, okay, sure. I'll buy that.
I think we're all gonna have to open our minds a little bit to what it is that we may be willing to buy or not buy in light of what we've seen this evening.
I mean, look, Mama told me that there were hates and stuff when I was a kid.
Your mother was a smart
This
woman.
couldn't be any weirder, right? I mean, it's Krauts walking down the street in Harlem, where they never were before. And yeah, I don't understand. This is weird.
It is all of those things. But it'll be all right.
Sure, absolutely.
And the
Come on,
two of
let's
you
get out of the cold.
make your way upstairs. And as you sort of, the door is still open from when your three friends went in. Can both of you make me hard listen rolls?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's like
And
Try.
previous luck.
Archibald, Killian, and Laura, you see your two friends
Oh my god.
come in. And as they do, Cora drops her flask on the floor and it sort of ricochets around and spreads whatever was in it, bourbon, gin, all over the floor. And Bex looks somewhat perplexed at it and then goes, "Hello, new friends? New friends?"
Bex was your name, right?
Oh, my friends call me Bex. So if you're friends of Leora, I'm assuming that we're all friends. So feel free to use the nomenclature of Bex.
Okay, that's a lot.
Well, some people have said that, as you yourself know, I believe, Mr. Archibald Warwick, that the use of words and how you phrase them is utterly important, and it can be career-making or not in some cases.
What sort of
That is right.
what sort of strange work you've been doing tonight? You have like sort of an off-kilter pacemaker put in or something.
I've just been reading the books and doing the science.
Which books are you reading?
And it just sort of points at the shelf of books that are about engineering, but nothing in particular.
May I go take a look at those?
You can go over and you can look at them, and you can tell that these have not been opened or used in weeks. There's like a layer of dust on top of them.
I heard the buzzing coming from him, right?
Yes, all of you hear the buzzing except for Cora and Amoya.
Can I sort of casually walk behind him and try and see if I can figure out where it's coming from?
When you sort of walk behind him, he sort of turns to meet you.
Okay. Does he turn his back on my friends who are
Yes.
who are in front of him? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The group of
you
you
see
from
anything?
from the distance that you're at, you don't really see anything other than he's dressed in a shabby suit.
Mr. Beck, sir, it's the middle of the night and you were wearing a suit?
I was gonna go to the party, but I got distracted.
What did you get distracted by?
Just the work and the science. But as you mentioned, it is getting late. I would like to retire soon so that I may rest my physical being.
Are you okay?
I feel great. You are not the first person in this group of people to make that inquiry.
Why are you buzzing?
I don't know what you're
You're
referring
buzzing
to.
loudly. It's driving me crazy. Why are you buzzing? Your whole body.
Valid question.
I'm sorry. Is anyone else hearing what your friend is referring to? I'm assuming
Yes.
someone of his advanced age may have hearing problems.
I hear it.
Oh, that's ageist.
I do hear it.
Ah,
Yes.
well, I understand what it probably is. I've been working on, and he points at the table that's by the window, this device. Please come over and I can show it to you.
Sure.
Does anyone else go over?
cautiously at a 5-foot distance, I watch as they approach.
Yeah, I think this is a little
I'm
bit
not
of
first.
As you go over, you see the table sort of strewn out, and there's all sorts of books on it. And it looks like someone has been working here tonight because there are some wires that are attached to things, and there's a candle that's also there that's burned pretty low that's obviously been lit a couple hours ago. Sorry, there's a candle that's burned down that was obviously lit a while ago. And as a group of you are there, one second.
so much nope.
I don't know what you're noping. I am merely trying to like show you what Bex is working on.
Greetings, fellow humans.
Yeah.
And you see as you're standing there close to the wall and Bex in this thing, and Archibald came right over. The rest of you are sort of somewhat close. Killian, I think, was trying to stay a little bit further than everyone else. He goes, I was working on this, and you notice that Archibald, unbelievably fast is Bex. You've never seen anyone move that fast. As a hand grabs you, hurls you into the wall, and in the same movement, a hand reached for Amoya and missed. But what you see is Bex grabs Archibald, throws him at the wall. Archibald vanishes through the wall. Archibald.
Uh-huh.
Expect to hit the wall as you're being hurled into it, but instead you're thrown out. And you're 8 stories in the air and you find yourself outside, plummeting to the ground. Come back in a minute. And you see that Bex...
Wait, what?
Oh, we're not done. We're just getting started.
Is there a hole?
Bex,
Way sooner than a minute.
Bex stops moving, and the entire body of Bex falls forward as something. Round of insanity checks for everybody. Archibald, you get 1 because you're plummeting to your death. Everyone else, you get 1 because you're about to see what I'm about to describe.
Oh, right, here we go.
Made it.
Made it. Now I get a hard success.
Made it.
Oh, wait.
Archie, no.
I mean, but also, I got thrown through a wall and I'm falling. Like, appropriate.
Leora, you lose
I'll think that
4.
helped.
Archibald, you lose 3.
Okay.
We'll start with Archibald. Archibald,
Oh,
you're
thanks.
hurled, and as you're hurled outside, and you see inside from the outside now, as you're plummeting towards the ground, that the entire side wall that you're hurled through isn't there. It looks like something destroyed that wall. And even as you're going out, you catch a glimpse of something like Bex himself is almost like a skeletal remains as you're outside of the wall now, and you start to plummet down to the ground. What are you doing? There is a rusty fire escape. There's open air, and there's you falling faster and faster.
Okay, so I'd like to talk about something on my character sheet here.
Physics?
A little thing called with physics, but also telekinesis.
Yes, you in fact have telekinesis because we're in a pulp game.
So I am. Do I know? Do I know I have telekinesis,
Oh, yes.
or is it like kind of
You
like
know
a power?
it. You can use it.
Okay. So yeah, I want to see if I can.
It's gonna
I
hurt
can't use it to like.
a lot.
Huh?
It's gonna hurt a lot when you hit the ground.
Oh
A
god,
lot, a lot.
yeah. I will. Oh, I can spend magic points to sort of use it as like a. I can use it to defend against physical attacks. So I'm assuming like I could use it as like kind of like ablative like telekinesis like armor when I hit.
Yeah.
So like maybe like don't.
Since we're playing more of a
like an
pulp game, I will let you use it in any creative fashion you can think of. It just costs more magic points. So you let me know what you want to do. And remember, I am a huge superhero fan. And you've got telekinesis. Come back in a second.
So, yeah.
I'll let you think about it. Everyone else, what you see, for all of you that made your sanity checks, you still lose 1 point. Leora, as you failed, you lose 4. Does anyone want to spend any of the bank of sanity for stuff that you can ignore? As the group can now ignore up to 123 points of sanity loss.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I
yes.
feel like we're gonna need that a lot.
Please.
So whoever, it's gonna go point by point. So if all of you want to ignore your sanity loss, just let me know, and we can subtract it from the 123 points you get to ignore.
People start donating to actually subtract our sanity going forward.
Someone did have that recommendation, but I
Yeah.
said no. Would you all like to buy off all of your sanity loss?
I'll take my 1 point. That's okay.
Yeah, I'll hold on to my one.
I'll take mine as well because I was at 70, which
All
makes me nice.
Archibald, would you like to buy off yours or Leora, as both of you failed your checks and you took 3 and 4 each?
Yeah, I'll buy off mine.
Leora, you have 123 points.
Yes, please.
Awesome. And so what you see that rips out of him is some sort of fungal creature that has 8 appendages, unusual leatherish insect-esque wings that start flapping away and moving. And as it moves, Bex's body that you get a better glance of, another round of sanity checks. If you made it, you lose 1. If you failed, which would be a Moya, you lose 1 point.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
And as Bex's body falls forward, you see that the entire thing has been flayed. The entire chest cavity is ripped open. It smells as if it's over 1,000 years old, but the flesh and everything else is new as it clatters to the ground. And even as you see it, the skull itself has been... There's a cut around the top of the head where the brain would be. And this thing flaps out through the wall into the darkness. People inside the apartment, starting with Cora, what are you doing?
I run towards the hole in the wall to see what happened for Archibald, first of all.
When you run to where the wall was, since it's outside now, the entire wall has vanished, and the entire room itself looks like an explosion went off. And the room is totally disheveled. There's layers of snow and ice on everything. And now that you can all see it, you all take 1 point of damage because the room is in fact freezing cold. It's like whatever it was doing was blocking your senses. And you see Archibald falling. Archibald, did you make your telekinesis roll?
Oh, sorry. Let me make that roll. Please make that roll. Is it regular or hard?
Regular.
Okay. Here we go. Oh my God. Reroll?
Reroll.
Thank you. I was so close too. Oh.
Good God. Come on.
Okay.
You can do it. Yeah!
All right. What you see, Archibald is around the fifth level, and you did what with your telekinesis?
So like basically what I want to do. So I was thinking like part of like what I do with the telekinesis, I kind of like recite like my favorite like poems from like other folks there, and like have like this Langston Hughes ones. It's like hold fast as your dreams for us. Like I'm like, you know, sort of reciting it, and then it sort of summons a power, and then it kind of like I have this sort of like I basically make this sort of like it's not visible, but like what it would be is like a sort of almost like a telekinetic like waterfall, like kind of comes up from the ground and like hits me, and then sort of like buffers and kind of lets me like I'm falling fast, slow, and then I kind of
awesome
land gently.
That is what you see, Cora. Archibald, that cost you 3 magic points.
He didn't go splat.
Leora.
Can I feel it? Like, can I tell without seeing that he has used magic?
Yes, you
that
can.
That he did the telekinesis.
At the range he is, you can tell that he did something like that.
That he did something.
He tapped into the mythos. You're not sure what, but you know it's not what you do.
Okay.
Leora, what would you like to do? You see that Cora turns back. He didn't go splat! Bex's desiccated husk of a body slams to the ground about a foot from Cora. Some sort of unusual fungal winged thing erupted out of Bex and flew through the wall that then became a shattered hole, and the entire apartment is covered in ice and snow.
I think I begin to pray.
All right.
No response.
Killian, what do you do?
How far away did this thing go?
It's out in the darkness. You'd have to run. You're assuming you'd have to run up to where Cora is to be able to see anything outside.
After watching the husk of Bex's body hit the floor and this horrible thing emerge, I head out through that opening. I just rush to the edge to make sure that is it fleeing or is it coming back?
When you run out and you're specifically looking for it, you see that it flew out and it is scuttering up the side of the building, and it's almost to the top of the building now. So you've run out and you look up and you see it like it stopped flying, and it's kind of using its wings to help it reach the top of the building.
Oh, God. I turn back towards the group and be like, whatever that thing was, it's still making its way to the roof. What do we do?
I mean, look, if the cops got here that fast after the soldiers, they're going to be here even faster after this.
Amoya, you know that these things are not known by most people, and even if they could see them, they would likely already be broken. It is only through some sort of luck or miracle that the companions you're with are not. Can you make me a Cthulhu Mythos roll? And Archibald, can you make me a Cthulhu Mythos roll?
You're unlikely, but let's try.
But I failed my last.
Archibald.
Oh my god! A Cthulhu Mythos of 5 that I made. Oh,
Archibald,
yeah.
as you're on the ground, as you're slowly going down, looking up, and you see this fungal thing scuttering up the side of the building with wings, and you notice it can't quite fly right in Earth atmosphere, and you definitely know it's some sort of, you think it was like a sky being or whatever the alien race is. They're incredibly scientifically advanced, and they use humans almost as proxies if they can. And that it's not used to our atmosphere is the only reason it's not flying, and it likely has a companion of some sort nearby to help it escape. But it's incredibly intelligent, advanced beyond the scope of our years.
Okay. And then like as that playing through my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'm like kind of muttering as I'm like dusting myself off, and it was just like, why do I know this? Right? Like, like kind of like, what? It's almost like some other voices in my head, but I know it now. I'll have to figure that out. I think there's a fire escape. Can I get back up through the fire escape?
There is a tetanus-infused fire escape waiting for you.
Tetanus takes time.
It's a couple weeks at least before the lockjaw really sets in good.
Yeah.
All right, so Archibald knows that. Amoya, you couldn't quite place it, but you definitely know it's some sort of alien thing. The rest of you, there is some sort of unholy horror that does not exist on this world that just erupted out of Leora's friend, who's now slammed into the ground and is little more than a husk. What are you in the apartment doing?
Is there a fire escape continuing up towards the roof?
There is.
I'm gonna go
going
towards
up
it.
after it.
Oh gosh.
All of you see Killian, the man that's almost 60, leaps out into the fire escape, utterly spry, like he's spent a lifetime dispensing pain, and begins to run up the fire escape.
Are you daft?
Some people would question that. Cora and Leora, what are you doing?
I mean, I'm worried about everyone I know, so maybe I can help if something goes wrong. I suppose I go outside and head. Where is Archibald right now?
All you know is Cora said he didn't go splat.
He seems to be perfectly fine on the ground. Oh wait, he's trying to climb the fire escape.
Archibald, you're trying to climb a fire escape?
Actually, so
Or do you do it the old-fashioned way and just TK your way up there?
that's there you go. I think there's even like a shot would be like, oh, like I'll just kind of do this sort of normal way, like looking at the fire escape and go. And then like since I can see like at this point when I look up, I can see Cora looking down. I was like, well, no use hiding this now, right? So I'll just I'll like do that waterfall, like PK waterfall, like.
All right. 3 more magic points. You don't have to roll, but you can reach where they are. If you want to reach the roof, it'll cost you 5. But you let me know what you want to do. Amora, what are you doing? You sense more magic being activated around you. You see Killian's run for the fire escape. You see that Leora's gone to it. And you see that Cora's going, Archibald, what are you doing now?
I'm going to be encouraged by Archibald's play, whatever it is that he is doing. I want to look in the room. I want to find the book. Or I want to see what are in his books that we did not see the first time.
Okay. Make me a spot hidden roll as you sort of investigate the room.
Yeah.
Killian, you start racing up the fire escape. And you notice as you're moving, it's rickety and it shakes. Not because it's a bad fire escape, but because it's so covered in snow and ice since it hasn't been used. It sort of strains under your weight, but you think it can support you. You're not sure if it'll support other people. Leora, you step out onto the fire escape, and you hear it go... Urgh.
I step back inside. And Archibald, don't come up this way. It's... Oh.
Yeah. So, can I get Cora and Leora both to make me a sanity check as Archibald goes... Are you stepping into the room, Archibald, or going to the roof? Both of you lose 1 sanity point.
Misha, you weren't kidding about your rolls.
I told you.
Well, yeah. So Killian's the only one going up there.
Yep.
Right now.
Some 60-year-old crusty man is running up the fire escape.
And we have to stop this thing because it's gonna be like probably running through,
Stop, let go.
Wearing half of
whatever
Harlem
you feel is
like
best.
a suit. So I'm gonna spend the extra. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna join Killian. But on the way up, like when Celia was like, the only thing I can think of to like maybe make this normal as I passed by Cora and was like, that tea was really excellent. As I was like.
There is no way to make this normal. Nothing. Nada.
That was the only awkward thing I had.
Hey, Killian, can you make me a sanity check, please? As you reach the roof, Archibald hovers and flies up beside you and steps onto the roof at the same time. There's nothing that makes that normal.
No.
Yeah.
You made it. You lose nothing. It's...
Right.
Also, just for everyone to remember, don't forget all of you have talents. Please make sure you keep your talents in mind. Because I think some people, if you lose 1 point of sanity, you actually lose nothing.
And it was 5 to get to the roof, right?
What's that? 5 to get to the top.
5 to get to the roof? Yeah.
Amoya, as you're searching through the room, you discover on the workbench that Bex had been working at before whatever happened, this unusual box that sort of stands out to you. It looks like it's something that's been a lot of time and hours to doing. And when you sort of pick it up in your hand, it looks like it survived the explosion. It's somewhat damaged, but it makes a faint beep, beep, beep sound as you hold it.
Fine.
And under the bed, you find a file folder that says due back at the crisis, and it looks like it's due back in about 2 days.
Okay. There are still people in the room with me, yes?
There's still Cora and Leora in the room with you. Both Killian and Archibald have gone to the roof in different manners.
Okay. Miss Lily, Miss Cora, could I ask you to just briefly step in the hallway and close the door behind you?
Yes.
You want us to
Please.
leave you in here by yourself?
I assure you I'll be fine. And once they leave, I want to, not facing me, but facing the blown out window, open the box.
As you open the box, it reveals a slew of wires and mechanical bits that are well beyond your keen unless you can make me a mechanical repair or electrical repair roll, which I do not think is your purview.
Not in my bailiwick. I have a 10 for electrical repair, but, you know, why not? Let's see. Hey, look at that.
Holy crap.
You know, you sort of look at it, you sort of move some things around inside of it. This is constructed to detect some sort of radiation. Maybe it's because you saw the books on the wall about radiation. Maybe it's just because you're a genius. But you know this detects radiation. And the faint beeping means whatever it was supposed to detect is gone, but there's still a residue left inside the apartment.
Excellent.
Leora and Cora, you're in the hallway. Some neighbors are starting to step outside because there's been a lot of noise. And they're looking at you. Cora, you notice they're definitely staring at Leora because she does not belong here. And they're looking at you for an explanation.
Gas explosion. It's gonna be fine.
Make me a fast talk
explosion.
roll. We don't have gas stoves.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
Frederick was an engineer. Maybe he installed a gas stove, and you see people slowly sort of go back into their apartments. Killian and Archibald, you're at the top of the roof. The roof is covered in ice, as no one has been up here for weeks, and this thing is scuttering across the ice like it's nothing. It could be because of its wings. Maybe it's incredibly dexterous, but it's making its way across the roof easily. What are you two doing? Archibald, we start with you, as you're faster than Killian.
Okay.
As a side note, when you do hit 0 magic points, you fall unconscious.
Thank you.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
Important things.
And just another note, like how fast can magic points be like recovered? Is it like over hours or?
About, if you get a full night's sleep, you get them all back.
Okay, all right.
We're now at about 3:30 or 4 in the morning. Let me take a moment as Quinn's mic has stopped to say thank you for everyone for your donations. We're keeping track of them, or at least my technical crew is behind the scenes. And we're updating all of the bennies that you're providing for these people that I truly intend to burn my way through in the next 15 minutes.
Hey!
Yay!
That link down in chat. Help.
Yeah, this is escalating quickly.
Also, really good cause. Really important cause. Help.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey Quinn, are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, a quick note to Killian. You still got that gun?
It's already, as I got to the roof, it's already in my right hand.
Okay, great. And like this thing's crawled like.
It is halfway across the
roof
roof in under 8 seconds.
Ugh. I want to stop this thing.
See what we see.
All right. Well, I want to try and basically make sort of like a telekinetic wall for it to hit, to pause it and give us a chance to shoot or do something.
I would need a hard telekinesis roll, and depending on how strong you want your wall to be, will determine how many magic points you invest in it. Basically, for every magic point you invest, you get to roll a d6, and that's how much strength that wall will have.
Sorry,
it'll have to break through.
Hey, that was a hard. Hold on, sorry, I didn't select the hard.
I'll give that to you as it's a 13
Still
under your
13,
35
yeah.
skill.
Okay, yeah, it's true.
But I just need to know how many magic points you want to invest.
Um,
Every magic point gives you 1d6 basically of damage it has to break through to get through your wall. How many magic points you got left?
I got 8.
Thank you, Gareth, for your $25.
Not knowing anything else about this, I'm gonna use half. Of
So
what I
you're
got.
investing 4?
So 4, yeah.
Do you want to roll 46 or you want me to roll 46?
I'll roll 46. Not well, but got 10.
I'm laughing with you. I'm not done yet. Not at you. And you see it slams into your wall, and the entire thing almost crumbles under its assault, but it's still holding. Killian, you see that it stops dead, and there's like a trickle of blood coming out of Archibald's nose. What do you do?
It's a lot to take in at once, but my focus is definitely on whatever the hell this thing is. So immediately just going to go ahead and unload into it with the revolver as I try and carefully make my way closer to it across the icy rooftop.
Make me roll.
For a revolver, right?
And you succeed, and so even as you shoot and it hits, you can tell the bullet does damage, but it does significantly less than what it should do if it hit something human. Almost like something about its skin or flesh absorbs part of the impact. Almost as if, at best, you've irritated it.
Angrily put my pistol in my pocket and pull out my knife.
All right. Archibald, you see that Killian puts the pistol away and pulls out a Bowie knife. A massive knife.
like kind of weighing what? I mean, that is a big knife. But I would assume a gun would be better.
So, downstairs, Cora and Leora, what are you doing? The people have dispersed. You no longer hear chanting coming from the room. Sorry, make sure. Amoya, what are you doing in the room? I got distracted by
I would
the
like
drug
to,
combat.
as very quickly as I can, find a satchel or bag of some sort, scoop up the box and the papers from the crisis, and make my way to the roof.
All right. How are you getting to the roof?
Is the fire escape the only method?
Unless you can fly, or unless you want to exit through the main door, out into the hallway, and try to find a way up from there.
I think I will. Oh no! I'm going to open the door. And check with Miss Lily. Have you been here before? Do you know if there's a way to the roof that's not the fire escape?
Bex has never invited you to his home, as that would not be appropriate.
I don't. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Miss Cora, are you familiar with this building? Have you been to a rent party here before? Do you have any idea if we can get to the roof?
You know that
I'm speaking very quickly, and I'm in every way trying to.
You know a couple different ways to get there.
I mean, I'm assuming you mean other than the fire escape, but yeah, there's a stairwell.
Fantastic.
Sure?
Under no circumstances do you go back into that room. And I head off towards the stairwell to go upstairs.
So, Leora, Amoya has told you not to go back to the room. In the room, you see Bex's desiccated, something horribly mutilated body that no one has inspected or looked at as she races to a stairwell somewhere in the building. What do you do? Bex was your friend.
I would like to go say a prayer over his body.
Cora, see that? Cora, you see that Leora goes back into the room over Bex's body. You see Amoya darts towards a stairwell. What do you do?
I go after Moya.
All right. Leora, as you're in the room over Bex's body, and as you're saying your prayer, just your years of doing medical research and in the war, you see that the wounds on the top of his skull are really recent. You're guessing within the past hour is how fresh those are. But the actual death and whatever happened to his body was at least a day ago. Almost as whatever that thing was, it took out his brain, but the body itself underwent some other trauma. And it's unnatural to look at the rest of the body as it almost seems to like move and shudder even in death.
Nope. Okay. I'm going to turn and try and find everyone else. Get away from here now that I've done what I need to do.
You race towards the stairwell after them. Killian, you're advancing on it with a knife. Archibald, you're holding up your wall. What are you doing now? Because you're fairly certain it'll break through your wall this round.
I don't have a ton of juice left, so I'm gonna sort of hold back. I'm definitely a lover / poet, not a fighter. So I am just gonna let Kelly know it's like it can break through my shield quick. Like get it.
I don't really know what I'm doing. Do you know what this thing is?
It's a sky beam. I'll give like the kind of like scattered bit of what I know, but it's not important right now.
Basically, what he can relate to you is it's incredibly resistant to anything and he uses the term Earth, so it takes minimal damage from Earth-related assaults. It can fly, and it's incredibly advanced and smarter than all of us put together.
Right. I've been in a few tussles in my time. This is far above me. The few steps that Killian makes out onto the icy roof after having this conversation with Archibald just kind of looks back over his shoulder, looks back towards the creature, and still keeping the knife there, just kind of slowly backs up towards Archibald.
And you see that it breaks through Archibald's wall and reaches the end of the thing and just leaps off into the air, flies up for about 15 feet, and then dives down, vanishing into the darkness and under buildings. And about that time, your other three companions reach the roof.
Lily reaches into her handbag and kind of just checks to make sure that her Luger's in there.
What are you all doing? You're alone on the roof in the freezing snow.
I'm looking for it. Can I see it in the sky? It's gone.
It's gone.
I'm gonna look at Killian and Archibald, and did it fly away on its own?
That way.
Are you trying to race across the roof to take a look where it might have gone? Or do you want to slowly go across the roof? Racing across the roof, you'll get a chance to spot it. Slowly moving, you won't see it, but you won't have to make any rolls not to fall and possibly slide off the roof. The ice and snow-covered roof.
Live dangerously. Come on.
You know you want
You've got like 20 rerolls. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't need to. What was important was the fact that it flew away under the power of its own wings, and that it just flew off and didn't just disappear.
Just to rephrase, make sure you caught it. It flew up in the air 15 feet, then it flew straight down at the ground and vanished behind the building.
Sorry. Oh.
And
yes.
As we've had some technical issues, just to make sure, you might have also heard, which everyone already know now, that Archibald has deduced that it flies badly in the air and it uses humans to assist it.
Yes, then I would like to, as smartly as I can, traverse the roof to see if I can see where it has gone. Which I'm sure is a horrible idea.
Can you make me a hard dex roll as you race across the snow-covered roof? Would anyone else like to race over after her?
Nothing was said about racing.
I did say quick. Race over to try to see where it might have gone or what might have happened.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Fine.
Moxie first. You're in a pulp game. What could possibly go wrong?
Dexterity. There we go. Oh, that's not gonna end well.
You see that Amoya. Would you like to use a reroll before I do what I'm about to do?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think I would like to reroll.
Whoa.
Excellent.
That was
Right,
2
third
rerolls.
time's a charm, right?
Technical
Yeah.
crew. That was 2 rerolls.
There
we go.
And both of you scutter across the roof. You see that that Amoya gracefully moves over the roof incredibly fast. And as you do, you see that from where it would have landed, there is almost something that looks like a truck that's driving away, that turns around a corner, that has a very large back, well covered cargo space that vanishes into the distance about 12 stories below you.
Well, crap.
Okay.
So you are certain it is not working alone.
All right. Just a general point of order. What was that thing? How do you know about it? What? You were flying? What's going on?
You ran out of a window after it and you didn't know what it was?
It was dangerous. That's all I needed to know at the moment.
Oh,
Yes,
my
yes.
God.
Excellent on your part, Mr. Killian. Congratulations. That was an excellent instincts on your part.
Thank you.
There seems to be quite a lot that's inexplicable tonight.
I'm gonna.
I just looked at Bex's, what's left of Bex, and he has been dead for some time now.
I thought you said you saw him like last week.
You did.
Where did I see him last week? Was it at the hospital?
He came
no,
to
was
visit
it
you at the
the-
hospital, but you know that there's a weirdness about the death. You could have sworn, based on the body, he's been dead for at least a year. But from the freshness of different parts of it, a day or two. It doesn't quite correlate how those would overlap. But your medical training knows something's not right, as it has those 2 different data points for it.
Body is rotting at different rates. Awesome.
That's great.
And so the creature was using him as some sort of host.
From what I can tell, yes.
Actually, you can tell that it looks like the creature was slightly behind him from where the puncture marks were, and it was piloting the desiccated body. Like whatever killed him before it was piloting him around.
Mm-hmm.
So that buzzing was like almost like the remote, a remote kind of. No.
The buzzing was the box, wasn't it?
No.
No, my guess would be that the buzzing was the creature's, the remnants of the creature being able to not be seen in our realm, we'll use, for a lack of better word. So,
What just happened?
I'm sorry, what? No,
camouflage.
wait.
Everyone, someone named Amoya that you've really never met just used the word realm to all of you as if it's a actual data point for you to work from.
Mm-hmm.
I now take out my bottle of cheap bourbon and start drinking.
An excellent response.
I'm going to finally kind of like I'm just sort of like, it takes like a bunch out of me, sort of like every time I use it, and so it's like I'm kind of still like kind of trembling. I'm finally like kind of like, you know, wiping the like, you know, the blood from my nose that was leaking out. You know, and addressing Killian, because, you know, he's sort of like clear, like, what's going on? And I was like, well, this is going to be just a warning. This is going to be an inadequate explanation. But I'm just like, sometimes you go for inspiration and you wind up with other things.
I'm sorry,
I'm
what
gonna
now?
I'm gonna kind of like, shuffle off a little bit, like I've explained something.
Who
I
are
haven't
you
explained
people?
anything.
Look, you're the one
I'm a
who went
poet.
back in the room when she told you not to go back in the room. So you don't really have a ton of room to talk here,
say
lady.
final rights for my friend.
My
Your friend's
concern was the
apparently a-
lingering radiation
Wait, radiation? What
and-
the hell?
and not being sure exactly how that would affect us. But yes, the last rites were certainly appropriate.
Okay,
This is the
radiation,
beginning
like
of a long and
Mercury
complex
radiation, yeah?
education for everyone. So, yeah.
Does anyone understand? You two seem to understand what's going on. Can you give it to us in the simplest terms possible, please? Because at this point, I've seen an army of ghosts. I've seen my friend who is dead, but only recently, but also for a very long time. I've seen you fly. Is this an hallucination?
It's not technically flying, but I can. Yes, I flew. I don't have a better explanation than that.
Well, I'm not sure that it's an explanation that's going to be very satisfying, but it would seem that an alien creature of some vast intelligence is here for some reason. And I don't entirely understand what, but there has to be a relationship between it and the misplaced, out of time, not alive small army that we saw marching in the streets. And so the question is, why is it here? What does it want? And how can we affect it? And it's not that there are not many other questions, but you all seem invested and wanting to help. And that seems to be those are the things that I would focus on if we wanted to actually help, because most certainly what happened to your friend Bex has already and and will happen again to others. Sorry.
So, how do we help?
That is the question.
We also still have to get Javier and James out of the 32nd at some
Yes.
point.
Yeah,
I mean, and they've got guns, and like guns sound like they'd be really useful now. And like I've got a pistol, but I really like my shotgun, and it's in the car. But I can't exactly wander around with the shotgun because cops. Also, this roof is kind of cold. Can we go inside at least?
Yes.
At this point, this is the first time Killian notices he's been shaking and is like, good point.
Well, you are all welcome to come back to the house if you want to continue to chat and discuss, and we can be warm and you can rest. There's food. I would like to go back to my books and my laboratory, for lack of a better word. So if that's and perhaps from there we can figure out what it is that we do next. It's just a suggestion.
So okay. Earlier you said you had a funeral home, and now you have a laboratory in the funeral home, and do you practice resurrecting people, or is that just a coincidence?
Practice might be a strong word, but yes, there are lots of chemicals involved in dealing with bodies, Miss Cora, and chemicals have lots of varied, interesting uses, especially if you know what to do with them.
I'm a grocer.
You're a grocer like I'm an actress.
I am now a grocer.
Oh, okay.
So all of this seems very bit over my head, but nevertheless.
You did say that you
Javier's-
think the funeral home can manage bail.
Yes,
Correct?
yes. And that
That's a
and
goal I can get behind.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we should see to, first thing in the morning. I'm not sure that we would get very far at 4 a.m.
Right.
Probably not.
So didn't we hear that there's something with that funneling elsewhere?
Yes, I heard that as well. In my experience, and I assume Mr. Killian and Miss Cora will correct me if I'm wrong. Usually, it's best when this is all perceived as good business.
Correct.
As opposed to having the elements of something shady, and perhaps 4 a.m. is not when good citizens go and deal in good business with the fine officers of New York City.
Fine.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get done, I suppose.
Do you all go to the funeral home?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I grab a
And-
drink on my way out.
You grab one of the
Put some
few remaining
money in the
bottles.
jar and grab a bottle.
And on that, as they make their way to the funeral home, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So go refresh your cocktails, everybody. Hey, everybody, and we're back. The group of them have made their way to Amoya's funeral home. They get there about 5 o'clock. Cora drove them all there. And as they sort of make their way through the first floor, there's your standard funeral home. You've got a viewing room. You've got caskets for people to decide on. And they go down to the basement. And as they make their way through into the basement, one of the first things they see as they go into Amoya's laboratory. Can everyone other than Amoya make me a sanity check?
Probably not.
If you failed, you lose 1 point of sanity. If you made it, you lose... Sorry. If you failed, you lose 3. If you made it, you lose 1. And as you make your way inside of into her secret room, 4 desiccated zombie-like things sort of like come out to greet her and stop and drop to one knee. There's no smell, but you can tell from like the flesh that is completely like missing from their faces. They've been dead for at least a year or more.
I'm assuming this is where you got your expertise on these things from?
It has been in the works for quite some time. I assure you they will not harm you. They're perfectly loyal to
They
me.
slowly advance towards you unless Amoya says otherwise.
That's not particularly reassuring.
Oh my god.
Amoya, do
Stop.
you stop them?
Stop. It's fine. We're unnerving our guests. Why don't you all go back into the next room?
And the four of them, unlike what you saw earlier, move with unbelievable dexterity and speed. You would have guessed they're faster than what you are as they sort of scutter back into the shadows. Close by, but never completely visible. And you're in Amoya's lab.
Go ahead. Questions? Please.
What do you do for a living?
I run a funeral home.
But a
Well,
funeral,
you're not putting them in the ground well enough.
yeah, funeral homes are for dead things.
This is true.
Those aren't.
Well, no, they are, but they are living in a bit of an in-between space.
I'm starting to think that you might be a better poet than I am.
No, I assure you, Mr. Archibald, that is not true. My family has run this funeral home for many, many decades, as some of you native Harlemites will know. As you have learned this evening, the world is a far more interesting and complex place than we expected it to be. And unfortunately, you're learning that, well, hard and fast, for lack of a better way to put it. And some of us have engaged in the science and scholar of all of the ways that the world is complex for, well, centuries. So I brought you here because I believe that I might have tools that can make it possible for us to actually face this odd threat that we've been engaging with this evening. And trust that because you have seen what you will see, you will be able to find the space to adjust to what you will find in my home. And very few people make it past this door, but you are welcome.
Thank you.
This is a very strange day.
So
Indeed.
we're not
For me
sharing
as well.
bedrooms with them, right? Like we'll get our own sleeping arrangements.
No, I assure you, they have their own space in the home that they frequent, but they can occasionally perform small tasks or assist me.
I'm fairly self-reliant. Thank you, though.
But I'm sorry, where are my manners? I can have I'll have food and drink brought down from the kitchen. There's a sitting room. You're welcome to rest. Perhaps discuss amongst yourselves what you think might be next steps. I have a little bit of work that I would like to do. But please, if there's anything that I can offer you.
And as she says rest, the day's events, as you're now around 5 a.m, just sort of all hit you. And you realize you've been awake for nearly a day. You've been in combat. You've seen things that people were not meant to see. And a weariness sort of overtakes you. And there's rooms here to sleep if you want to sleep. Or if you want to try to venture your way home, it's up to you. But you know that you need to rest to at least try to prepare for what's going to happen next. What do you all do? Cora.
I look at myself. I'm like, I'm dressed not for the day. So I'm thinking I might want to go home and sleep there so that I can change, if nothing else.
Leora.
I think I'm very confused, and perhaps I should lie down here and try and understand, and then we can go in the morning to bring bail.
Killian.
I approach Amoya and just say, I hope you don't take my reservations to heart. I do appreciate you providing a place to stay for the night. I'm just going to take a corner. That's all right.
Of course.
And I will saunter up to that corner, kind of slip down into a partially huddled, knees to the chest position, and just pass the hell out.
Archibald.
I'm just gonna sort of, I've got kind of like my writer's book, kind of like out. I am inspired right now. I'm gonna sort of have the book out, and it'll be like, at some point, like to Moya, I'm like, some point, we should probably talk.
Of course.
And then, I'm gonna just go up and get a room, and I am basically going to write out and scribble some poems until I fall asleep at a desk or something, or in the bed.
Cora, as you start to exit the building, you see that all of your companions are staying. Maybe they're staying because they're tired. Maybe they're staying because whatever that thing is may be hunting them if they're alone. Do you get in your car to leave to go into the night by yourself?
Miss Cora, I am sure that if I have someone rummage through one of the closets, I can at some point find some suitable clothing for you if your attire is what's the greatest part of your concern.
I do go to my car, and I get my shotgun out of the trunk.
Solid choice.
And then I come back in.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
And unsurprising, as it's a funeral home, they have an enormous selection of clothing for you to choose from. From the dead, but you can still choose from it.
Yeah, that part doesn't bother me nearly as much as the, bodies walking around.
And all of you fall into a deep, deep sleep for 6 or 7 hours. And even as you sleep and your events of the night sort of go through your mind, there's something not right about sleeping in a funeral home. None of you have done it before, except for Moya, whose home this is. Something always feels off. Even you're slightly asleep, but you feel still awake. And you can almost smell chloroform in the air, even though it's not there. But after that, you wake refreshed. Everyone regains 1 sanity point. If you lost 1.
1. Wow.
May I?
Yes.
I would like to inquire about 2 things. As the rest is starting, could I dispatch a retrieval team to the apartment to try to claim Bex's body before the authorities show up?
I would need a luck roll for that.
I can do that.
I think your luck score is 5%.
Luck, it is 5%, so that's not great. Why can't I? There we go.
So
Failed
close.
horribly. Yeah.
Would you like to use one of your... How many rolls do you have? 30 re-rolls on your 5% chance.
Use 5 of them, sure.
No, because I suspect that Amoya has the appropriate relationships with the appropriate authorities to get backdoor access to a body later.
Have you forgotten something that's very important?
No.
The police departments are primarily run by white people, and you are a black woman of some notice and status. How do you think that interaction is going to go?
It's very hard to imagine that she does not have a scientifically minded, sympathetic white person as a front for exactly these things.
I agree. The coroner is your friend, but it's not the coroner you need to be concerned about. Because Bex's body is a crime scene.
I hear you.
In most cases, a coroner could slide your body, no problem. But this is a crime scene dealing with a veteran who also died under unusual circumstances in a building engaged in a gun battle hours beforehand.
Oh, that's right. The building exploding. Okay. I'm going to make one more luck roll, but I'm also going to think about other avenues to get what I want.
I fully suggest that.
And Yes, thank you for laughing. And then the other thing is, what are the chances that I might already have a Blessed Blade?
I will give you one for free.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like? I'll give you a machine gun if you want one. Killian has a machine gun. I'll happily share them throughout the party. I will give every single person here
now you're
a
just
machine
way
gun.
too anxious to give us things that are not going to help us at all. I've been there before.
I am a Call of Cthulhu keeper. I will give you anything you want. Do you want dynamite? Boom, you got dynamite.
See? Yeah.
See, I've heard of this Chekhov guy, and
It's weird. That's a factory that makes these weapons.
And I would like
No,
to,
sorry.
before I rest, go through the folder from the crisis that Bex had.
What you notice is the folder is actually empty. It looks like whatever's in it, Bex took. And at best, you'd have to go to the crisis. Maybe he returned it. Maybe he forgot the folder. But that's something you'd have to investigate to really find out what's going on.
Okay. That was what I wanted. Thank you.
at what rate do hit points recover?
Everyone that was damaged when you wake up in the morning, or technically like 6 hours later, because it's already the morning, you have 2 more hit points back. You feel refreshed, rejuvenated with 2 additional hit points. Not 1, not 3, but 2.
Now, and I get, but we
Yeah,
get
I
all
lost
our
one.
magic points back.
And all your magic points come back. So it's probably around 10 the next morning when you all finally wake up. The staff in the funeral home brings all of you a cup of coffee to start your day with. But what are you doing now?
So when you say staff,
Yeah, I was gonna,
They are not undead. They are living people that work for Moya. Who, I will assume
checking.
Amoya told you they do not know about the zombies in the basement. Is that correct, Amoya? Or did you not tell them that?
I did tell them that.
The staff don't know about the undead hanging out within 10 feet of them. Because that would be creepy.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that would
in
be
the
creepy.
in the spirit of Madam C.J. Walker, they are all just local, some of them very young, just trying to spread the income that the funeral home generates through the Harlem community. And you work for a couple years, and then new people come in and to try to push the money around to try to help all of us. So, yeah.
It's around 10:30. You've had coffee. You're clean. You're ready for the day. What's your plan, team? It's December 21st. It's a beautiful, sunny,
December
yet still
21st.
slightly snowy day.
I mean, we should see about locating Javier and James, all right, if we can. And
Right. Head over to this 32nd, and based on what Miss Samoye here has been saying, hopefully be able to bail them out of what charges they might be holding them against.
So the group of you load up in Cora's car, and she drives you across town to the 32nd precinct.
While keeping a very close eye for any sort of large-backed truck-like vehicles that may contain a weird fungal creature.
Like you do.
like you do.
I can assure you that
I mean,
won't be on the streets
what do you
every
do on
day.
December 21st?
Exactly.
Shop for Christmas presents. What do you do?
So, Cora drives you up to the building. The 32nd precinct is a large French Second Empire style brick building. There's a primary building, and beside that is sort of a stable where they house horses and the few actual cars and other vehicles they have. Outside of the building, you notice there's a smattering of police officers, maybe about 10 officers, sort of loitering around as they get ready to go on shift. I'm assuming that Cora parks maybe a block away.
Yes, I do not park directly in front of the police station because that's
What do you all
a bad
do?
idea.
And all the officers that you saw are white.
I look at Killian. I look at Lily.
Killian, you know with your
Talking,
past,
right?
and so you're a grocer now, but there is no way to hide what you've done for 40 odd years of your life. regardless of what you do.
I look over towards the door and say, dear, I think you're taking point in this one.
And the rest of us walk in the front door?
You can, of course, try.
So we're trying to achieve this balance between actually be engaged with as a person, which Killian can achieve, and understanding the graft system as it works, which perhaps Cora and Killian have some knowledge of. I would suspect that I have a bit of knowledge of it. And also not draw too much attention and not further their contempt.
I will just point out, as some people may not be used to this, but you're a group primarily of black folks in 1920s who are about to go into a white, primarily police station to make an inquiry about black hellfighters who were not well received when they got home because people thought they were too uppity for fighting for the country, to see if you can get them out. And amongst your group, you have a nurse, a poet, we'll say business owner, outlaw, and confidence trickster. Which at least 3/4 of you are apparent in what your actual occupation roles are. Mm-hmm. How would you like to proceed?
Is there any way we can... Are there any lawyers who would be helpful in this situation?
There could be. So do you want to leave here to try to go find lawyers? You know that Celestina and Ralph said that maybe at the armory they might be able to find a lawyer for you.
Maybe that's worth trying to do, since we are less than a reputable collection of individuals here.
Because right now you are outside of the police station.
And you are, without exception, the most reputable among us, Miss Lily.
Yeah.
Well, depends on who you ask. But you can rest assured it will not be Cora, Killian, or yourself.
Correct.
Archibald's comes from a family legacy, but
I honestly don't feel. I feel like that will play off even worse. Like when we come in all well dressed and be like, okay, come in. They're like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, and Archibald is kind of.
But you've also got to realize where Leora is from, and you're dealing with American officers in the 20s after World War One. None of you are in a great position.
Nope.
Perhaps we should get someone who's better equipped for this.
Finding a lawyer who can act on our... Yeah.
Or do you just throw caution to the wind and go in? It's up to you.
I mean, we can try this. I mean, I honestly feel like Archibald is kind of he knows the dangers and stuff like that, but he's I'm inspired today, honestly. I'm going to try something. Change is in the air. Yeah,
well, I can give you a rather large stack of cash.
Yeah, I mean, go cash. I mean, I can spend money.
So, do the group of you go in? Are you sending Archibald into the police station alone?
I would feel amazingly guilty if Archibald went in there by himself.
I would hope so, given you saved Archibald 3 times already.
This sweet little cinnamon roll is going to get his ass kicked in by cinnamon by himself. I can't let that happen.
It's a brand new... Oh my god, what are you doing to me?
Yeah,
I will give you 30 seconds. Plan amongst yourselves. I will just enjoy my bourbon.
All right. Knowing Rob's appreciation for Archibald and what he displayed, I'll keep an eye out for any sort of freckled, red-haired individuals that might be in the precinct that maybe I can find some connection with?
I look at Archibald and like, look, I'm your wife. We're going in. We're getting our cousin out of jail. Let's go.
Okay.
So,
I
who's
don't
going
think
in?
that- if they seem to have a plan, and I'm not convinced that more colored faces are actually going to help the situation.
So right now,
I'm going to hand off the money and wait in the car.
how much are you giving them?
Oh, an appropriate amount of money for bail and bribes. I don't know what that is.
What is an appropriate amount of money that you're giving them bail and bribes? It's up to you. You have a certain amount of ready cash on your character sheet. How much of that do you wish to give to these people that you met yesterday?
Would I have
One of which
any
you know
my
is
past?
definitely a confidence woman.
For sure. It's fine. I was just at my home. I can be at my home again. I will hand the $500 to Mr. Archibald.
Archibald,
Step.
you've never seen so much money all at once.
And I'm going to step a little too close to Miss Cora and look at her in the eye without wavering and say, I trust that I will get back anything that the police do not require.
Perhaps.
Does anyone else go in with the happily married couple?
Yes, I think I would.
Gillian?
I'll go ahead and I'll accompany Leora from behind, and I'll be playing up my age more than my physical stature normally allows.
Okay. Amoya, you're outside alone in Cora's car.
Correct.
The quartet of you make your way inside. And as you do, you see there's a rail-thin white desk sergeant sitting behind the desk that sort of casually glances up, then goes back to doing whatever it is he's doing at the desk. And as you make your way forward, he never raises his head, but it's apparent he's paying partial attention to you. What are you doing?
All right, so I'm sure I've dealt with having to pay somebody's bail before, so I go to the desk where you would pay the bail.
You know that you have to get to the desk sergeant to move anywhere past here.
All right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ma'am, I'm pretty busy right now. I'm engaging in a incredibly interesting crossword puzzle.
My cousin got taken in last night, and I kind of would like to get him out, if that's possible, sir. Please.
What's your cousin's name?
James. I
Full
give the
name?
correct last name because player does not remember last name. Character
Smithson.
probably would. Okay.
And you see that like sort of pulls out a stops working the crossword puzzle, goes over, flips open a book, and sort of scans down the list. Can everyone inside make me a psychology roll? Don't forget, you have rerolls if anyone fails. A lot of rerolls. Because people love all of you.
I got this.
9.
Leora, he says, nope, there's no one here by that name. He is lying. You're unequivocally certain that is a bold-faced lie, as is Cora.
Yeah, I got it too.
And Archibald. Killian? Guess they're not here.
I might find the wrong place, sorry.
I'm gonna pull out like a 5 and sort of like palm him, just like,
Son, that's not what I do.
okay.
Cora, from how he's acting, you can tell that you know that he's lying with your hard success, but he obviously doesn't want to lie, but it looks like he's not in a position to tell you they're here. Son, I don't do that. If that's what you're going to do, I'm going to be nice and give you a chance to step outside. And then he goes back to work on his crossword puzzle.
I'm gonna just kind of slide it back in, like rebuffed at my very, very first act at like bribery and grabs. And it's just like, wow, this does not play well. And this is why people don't do it, right? It never works, or is it just?
I start bawling.
Ma'am, much like I don't take bribes, I don't take fake tears. So if you want to step outside with whoever this is. I'm just trying to do my job. I don't want to be bothered by like this or that. I just got a wife and like 4 kids. I want to make sure everyone's fed. And he looks at Leora and Killian. Can you please take your friends outside before I have to do something I really don't want to have to do?
Well,
and then he looks at Killian really hard, and then he only looks at Leora. Please take all of your friends outside before I do something I really don't want to have to do. I just want to do my job. I want to go home.
Thank you, officer. I think we should go. Now.
Which, Leora, you know that there's an opportunity if you want to try to make a persuasion, fast talk, or charm roll to change the situation that's about to happen.
I think that, I can try a fast talk, but I also think that if this is just the desk sergeant,
it is up to you.
We're going the wrong way.
I'll go.
I think I would
Archibald,
say,
make a roll.
Thank you, officer. We'll be going now.
Archibald, do you want to try whatever it is you're going to do before you go? Charm or persuasion?
Oh, no. I was going to go.
All right.
I was gonna. I think I start actually start consoling Laura at first, and then it was like, wait a minute, okay, let's just go. Like, oh my god, I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't really. I don't need to do this. I'm like, let's go.
Which all of you, even before you leave, get the feeling that he doesn't want to do what he's doing, but it's like he has to do it. Cora, you know for fact, this is someone that's like a low person on the totem pole that's been told to do X. Killian, maybe he's being forced to do something, but you're not really sure. But either way, this guy's a pushover. Leora, you're fairly certain that if you could apply any sort of persuasion or charm, he'd likely buckle. Archibald, this sucks. Amoya, the car, it's really cold outside. I wish they would hurry up.
I will try
so that the heater could run. I'm not cruel.
You said it was a charm or persuasion I would need to make,
or fast talk, depending on who you are.
Or fast talk. I can try and give it a fast talk, and we'll leave. I think you should all outside, but just I wanted to check what was the bail amount for.
Ma'am?
Should a person be here, what would the bail amount be?
Make me a fast talk roll.
Yeah.
Ma'am, there's no one here by that name. If they were here by that name, there would not be a bail amount for them because they are not on the books.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were here and they had family, I may take family down to see them. But of course, as we both know, they're not here.
Understood.
Killian steps up behind Leora, his kind of previously frail stature a little more luminous and intense than it was when he first arrived, and goes, "And I'm just curious here, son. Who's your superior officer, I might ask?"
The captain of the police station told me that there were no black veterans that fought in the war that are currently in this police station. And as an officer of the 32nd Precinct, if the captain tells me something's not here, it is not here. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't show someone a bunch of empty cells if that's really what they wanted to see.
Interesting.
I've never
appreciate
seen
your
empty
candor.
cells before.
Well, if you wouldn't mind confirming for us that these cells are indeed empty, that these individuals are not here, and perhaps we should look elsewhere, we will stop bothering you and your hard work you're doing with that there crossword puzzle.
It takes a lot of effort to finish a crossword puzzle. And ma'am, I am happy to show you and your friends downstairs into the empty cells. But before I show you downstairs empty cells, I want you to understand that there's going to be a shift change in 10 minutes. And you see that Desk Sergeant Wilkerson stands up, the white officer, and sort of leads you down the stairs. And leads you down the first floor into, like, down 2 other floors into, like, equivalent of the 3rd level. That is freezing cold. And you're glad you have your coats on. But he goes, there's no one down here. You're welcome to, like, walk and look at all the cells. But I just want to remind you that we're going to be doing a shift change soon. So, look at them and then come back up. And he goes back upstairs.
Thank you, officer.
And as you make your way down through the cells, you notice that in the smallest cell possible, almost at like the end of the row, there are both Jordan, Javier, and James. They both look beaten and battered. Leora, you can tell they have wounds that are maybe an hour old. And they're covered in their own feces and waste matter from how long they've been down here.
Can I help?
You're behind the bars. You're on the other side of the bars. And they recognize all of the 4 of you and go, hello.
I look up and down the hall to make sure there's nobody looking and pull out my lockpicks.
You see Cora breaks out lockpicks. Is anyone doing anything?
I am keeping a very close eye on the door leading into this area.
Cora, make me a lockpicks check.
Damn, skin of my teeth.
It's kind of like a Sunday for you, as your trusty lockpicks exit have gotten you out of more trouble than you could ever imagine. And you unlock the cell. And as it swings open, you see that Javier closes it and goes, there are so many police officers outside. Even if you open this up, what do you think will happen?
That will sneak you out the back door.
You're living in a world that we're not in.
You want to stay here?
No, I don't want to stay here. But I don't want to get shot leaving a police station. And I want to be able to hug my sister on the street without being gunned down by a bunch of white cops. Which, if we leave like this, I won't be able to do. And you see Smith say, I'm happy to leave like this. You get me out of here, we can leave Harlem.
I look at Archibald. Is there anything you can do here?
Do you in terms of...
Look, I saw you flying last night. I don't know what the fuck you can do. What can you do?
Wait, are you telling me you just picked our lock and some random dude can fly? That's like Smithson.
That's the very baseline of what's going on right now. So
It's been a very weird night.
I mean,
6 minutes. Let's go.
I have things that I can do. I mean, essentially, at the heart, I'm a poet. And words have some power, and I can be able to use that, but I'm not, maybe, I can open some of this stuff up.
Both of them shake their head.
Can you, I don't know, make it so that people don't
can
see
we
you,
help?
maybe?
I'm not that good. I mean, I could stop. I mean, like, I could do something. I was thinking I could do something like maybe use telekinesis to, like, hold the door shut while we sort this out, but I don't know if that would cause more problems. They can't get in.
Javier sort of stands up and says, I'm not leaving Harlem. I'm not leaving my sister. I left France where I could have potentially lived like a king to come to be with my family. So, me breaking out of jail does not let me do that. Smithson goes, I am happy to leave. I will get back on a boat and go anywhere in the world I need to get to be safe.
So, how can we help?
I mean,
Get us out of jail.
you're technically not
legally.
even here, according to the guy at the front desk. So, if you got a better way for us to get you out of here, I'd love to hear it.
My question is, do you know anything about that army of undead? Because we never got to talk to these guys. Like they were sort
On
of-
what? And they both look quizzically at you.
The German soldiers last night that shot
There
at all
there
of us.
aren't any German soldiers. We fought them over in France and left them there to die.
Did you happen to remember being shot at last night at all?
There were a bunch of, I don't know, people that shot at us. Then the police showed up.
Did you happen to notice that they all, I don't know, disappeared in a puff of smoke kind of thing?
Well, we ducked behind the cars. We're assuming they ran off when the police showed up.
Oh, honey. Okay. Not a problem. I like look at my watch.
It's been probably about 5 or 10 minutes since you've been down here. You know that
Can-
Officer Wilkinson told you that the shift change was very soon.
Can they write a note saying that they're here that we can show someone?
If you give them something to write with, they can.
I reach into my handbag and I pull out, an old receipt or something, and
They
have
write it
them-
out, and they also write the address for one of their. They write the address to the armory because they're like, if you can't get us out, maybe someone at the armory can, or maybe Sergeant Thompson, and they write down Thompson's address, who owns like a garage over at the garage that may know something, and they mentioned someone named Wright, who was their former like commander. Well, one of their commanders, because they were under French control, and so they have some French commanders also. But Wright was a Hellfighter that's back in Harlem, so maybe he knows something that can help. Can everyone make me a round of listen checks?
Oh no.
Archibald, you, Leora and you hear footfalls coming, and you hear the sounds of two officers discussing. All right, so I've got my billy club ready. I'm ready to like beat down some fake some fake veterans, and you're guessing they're maybe a round away before they turn the corner to come where you all are. So if there's anything else you want to ask them, now is the time.
No.
We go.
No, I just, I guess I just warned him, like, look, we're gonna have to go storm, but storm's coming right now. Whatever you're having to endure.
We can deal with whatever this is. This is Javier. You see that James is like, I just want to get out. I don't care how it happens. I just want to get out. Javier refuses to leave unless it's legally done, because he's not going to leave his sister here without him. He doesn't say why. And about that time, you see two white officers turn the corner and stare at the group of you, and then look at them, and they're looking back at you. What are you four doing? And you're muted.
muted, Matt.
You're muted. And they're only looking at Killian and Leora. They're not looking at either Cora or Archibald.
Oh,
can't-
we were just
we can't hear you,
seeing
Matt.
that these cells were empty, and they are. So, thank you for your time, officers.
Thanks, ma'am. Do you mind taking yourself and your whatever with you?
Yes, officers.
and the four of you leave. You leave Javier and James alone with the officers, and you hear like the clicking of their billy club on the cell as you leave. And even as you're leaving, you catch like the glimpse. You can swear that you heard the word noose before you left. And that's where we're ending this session. I would like to thank everyone that's donated and listened today. I've asked the cast, due to technical difficulties on my part of learning an entire new system, an entire new way to game, if they'd be willing to come back for a second session, and they agreed. So we're going to try to figure out schedules, and I will post and barrage you with Twitter tweets about when it'll happen. But I would like to thank every single one of them for coming, for playing in this game. It's my passion project. I would like to promote that Roll20 is going to make Harlem Unbound available on Roll20, that you can buy a second edition on Chaosium's website. And if you like my work, I'm coming out with a book called that's called Haunted West, that addresses the Old West, the narrative, and it's available for pre-order. If everyone here would like to give a final thanks, where people can reach you, and Matthew, last I saw, your comms were not working, so we'll come to you last. Misha.
Hi, I'm Misha B. I am on Twitter as BGGameworks, or my website is blackgirlgameworks.com. It's been amazing to play this. I really enjoy it.
Jen.
I am Jen Kretchmer. You can find me on Twitter as DreamWisp and on Twitch as DreamWispJen, and in a bunch of other random places. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for having us.
Quinn.
Quinn Murphy, QH_Murphy on Twitter. ThoughtCrimeGames.net is my website. Yeah, and this is super awesome. Loved it. Thanks, y'all.
Ariel.
Ariel Celeste. I'm on Twitter at Ariel Contessa, sort of, sometimes. And you can see the work that I do at contessa.rocks. Yeah, thanks. This has been, and thank you all for your support and the donations and the money. It's overwhelming and humbling, and yeah, thank you so much.
And Matthew.
See if this is working. I've changed my audio here. Yay! No, my name is Matthew Mercer. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew Mercer. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Chris, for inviting us to be part of this amazing game. Looking forward to where it goes from here. And if you haven't had a chance to check out Harlem Unbound, please do. It's fucking amazing. So thank you all for joining us and for donating, being a part of this amazing charity event. And hell yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for when we figure out when the next session is.